Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday, whether you're in Kenya, Sunday evening, or if you're in the United States, it's kind of midday time. Always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I'll give us a little bit of time. I'm really excited because we have another guest-based interview. We have Kea Wakesho Simmons from Traverze Culture going to be coming up. I'm going to read her bio a little bit and introduce her in a minute, but I want to give you guys some time to come in, see how everybody's doing. As normal, you got to subscribe to comment. We try to reduce the trolling and all that can be happening. But the chat is an important part of the show. It's always a cool hangout, going to be kind of informal, but we want to give you guys the opportunity to ask your questions. I'm sure if you're a subscriber or aware of my content, I'm sure you're aware of Traverze Culture and some of the things that they do, but I wanted to have Kea on to be able to answer questions and have you guys have a conversation and get into the details. There's a lot of things that I was interested in, especially with the medical tourism. Kea also was talking about veterans and using their insurance potentially in Kenya. And so these are a lot of important adult things to talk about, especially for those of you guys really considering moving. I think a lot of the content out there can be about some of the emotional aspects and cultural connections to the continent. But these things are very important if you're going to really make a move. And, you really need, like, healthcare is important. Immigration is important. How do you furnish your place? How do you pay for stuff? And, my last trip, I spent a lot of time, and I know some of you guys that have been on the lives quite frequently see me get tired and beat up from having to, hire different people and get my property furnished and close on the property and do inspections. And it can become very tiring. And, I have a military background and so does Kea. So that'll be interesting. So I'm kind of maybe more built for this. I've traveled internationally. I've been around the world a little bit as well as Kea. And so I always think, and I talked to Kai, if you know him, about this, and I don't think most normal people that don't have that much of experience are gonna have a good time trying to accomplish all those things. And so I started to realize these services, especially Kea, because she has so much experience in the business, even before starting Traverze Culture, is really important and can make your transition more successful, or at least way less headaches. And even though you're paying, you probably save money overall for most people, because all you need to do is be misled or quote unquote be scammed or overpay one time in the local market, and it'll probably make sense to pay a service where you're actually getting everything that you're expecting, which can reduce a lot of headaches. So we're going to have a real practical conversation about all of these aspects and get into her background and experience, and flesh out who she is as a person. And I think, I feel like we're kind of building a little bit of a community in Kenya with Black Americans, where you do have some people that you can ask. And she's been there one of the longest as a content creator. And I think having someone that you could talk to, or services that you can reach out to that that will get the job done, is super important. So let me read her bio so we can give you some of her background. I always wanted to do this. I feel like all the cool podcasts give people a really cool introduction. So hopefully I do her justice here. Kea Wakesho Simmons was born in Atlanta, Georgia, raised in Charleston, South Carolina, within the rich Gullah Geechee cultural traditions. And she actually dropped out of high school in the 10th grade, joined the Job Corps, and got her GED through there. So she's got a lot of experience, even from early on. which is kind of similar to me, actually, a little bit, and we'll get into that. Her military service was from 2006 to 2011 in the U.S. Army, the exact same dates as me, ironically. Served 5 years as a human resources specialist with deployments to Iraq and Korea. See that international travel experience there. Her time in Korea ignited a passion for international cultures and global perspectives, laying the foundation for her future in cultural tourism and international business. International contracting from 2011 to 2018 transitioned to international contracting, overseeing the movement of more than 5,000 personnel in Afghanistan and working across Estonia, Bulgaria, and Iraq. This extensive international experience, shaped her expertise in logistics, humanitarianism, service, and global business development. And then she founded Worldviews Foundation from 2018 to 2023, a travel concierge company that connected hundreds of travelers to Kenya. This venture established her reputation as a pioneer in Afrocentric tourism and demonstrated the powerful potential for diaspora reconnection with the African continent. And then she rebranded in 2023 as Traverse Culture, an Afrocentric regenerated, oh my goodness, I can't speak, regenerative travel company dedicated to creating sustainable pathways for the African diaspora to reconnect with the continent. Leads the landmark Journey Back to Eden initiative designed to bring thousands to Kenya for cultural exchange and investment. And that's going on in December. We'll definitely get into that. Super big deal. And without further ado, here she is, Kea Wakesho Simmons. Hey. Hopefully I did enough justice, although I can't speak sometimes.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was great.
As we were saying before you got on, you've done a lot of things. So I feel like it's great to have you on and share your experiences.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
So yeah, thank you for the time. I guess let's start with kind of your background. You're from Atlanta / South Carolina, the Gullah Geechee culture. What you know, the only thing I know about that really is like Gullah Gullah Island. I didn't even know that was like a real thing. So like, can
Yeah.
you some background? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And someone from
Yes.
Gullah Geechee culture.
So my family is originally from Charleston, South Carolina. So I just happened to be born in Atlanta. Um, but we're all from the Low Country, Charleston. I grew up on James Island, South Carolina, and there also we have our ancestral home, I guess, in Pineville. These are for people who know this area: Pineville, St. Stephen's, and Cross, South Carolina. And the Gullah Geechee people essentially are a group of people who are descendants of the transatlantic slave trade or freed Africans who landed in North America. Mainly, the corridor does begin from St. Augustine, Florida, all the way to Wilmington, North Carolina. But I'm going to be real biased. We are the real Gullah Geechee people. They say that we originated from West Africa and Angola, but I've also found some connections here in East Africa as well. We're known for our dialect, which is Gullah. And then throughout history, we started to be called Geechee. So we have a Creole style dialect or a pidgin, and we are known for that. We're known for our food, our history, our the language, as I said before, and then also where we were located in North America, and that strong African roots and culture that we were able to preserve and cultivate over time as a group of people.
So, growing up, like, I don't know, in high school, was that like a thing? Like, was that an identity that you you were aware of and held on to at that time? Because you know some of this stuff is becoming new with us kind of reconnecting. So I was wondering, like, were you aware of like the origins of the culture in the same way? Like, what was your perspective at the time?
No,
And maybe the community around you, right? Like, did you guys, the Gullah Geechee people, hang out more and at the school at the lunch table, or like how was that?
mm. Well, so that whole area is Gullah Geechee. Like, so
Okay.
the whole of Charleston, South Carolina, the whole low country, we're all Gullah Geechee. But
Oh.
then there are groups of people or families who stayed on their own land and cultivated a bit more, right?
Mhm.
But growing up, no, we weren't proud to be Gullah Geechee. I wasn't proud to have the accent that I had. So that's why I sound like I'm from New York. But if I try to put it on, let me use one statement my great grandmother used to say to me. Um, she used to say, Kia, you're so no manners and lick mouth. Can you understand what I just said?
Heck no, not at all.
So
Not
I'm
one
gonna say it
word.
again. Kia, you're so no manners and lick mouth.
I feel no. I
No.
ain't any of that.
Okay. So yeah, that's the dialect where we not only had a strong accent that's more similar to the Bahamas. If you were to compare our Creole or and our accent is we sound the same as Bahamians. They even say that we have a connection with Bahamas that we also derived from Bahamas as we were traveling to North America. But yeah, I wasn't proud when I got to New York. People were asking me if I'm Jamaican, if I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, no, I'm from Charleston, and they're like, oh, you just Geechee, you know. And I tried to lose my accent, so I mimicked New Yorkers so much. So by the time I left New York, people from New York thought I was from New York, and it just stuck with me because my second home is Virginia.
Interesting. That's interesting. So when did you turn around and kind of embrace that side?
Man, ooh, maybe in my 30s. Maybe in
Okay.
my 30s or my late 20s is when I started my enlightenment journey on who we are African people, and I started traveling with more intentions or intentional, and so then I started to embrace, hey, we really got a rich culture that a lot of us, even in our community, because I feel like African Americans, we are our own tribe of people, but we're so diverse. I mean, from one city to another, you have a
Mhm.
totally different accent, totally different culture, totally different, everything. And I started to embrace it then when I started to research who I was as an African woman. Um, Globally, right? Knowing that I'm Gullah Geechee, but then it goes further than that. So starting to research that and becoming proud about that. Yes.
Yeah, I had a similar thing probably around the same age where I started to think more deeply about like what does culture mean to you, where you're from.
Yep.
Uh, those things started to become important. I wonder. Um, so I was in the military, same 2006 to 2010, and
Okay.
I was stationed in Germany originally.
Okay.
And I feel like when I was in Germany, I felt more American than you feel black. And I only really
Yeah.
realized that when I came back to the States. And I was like, now I'm a black person. Because when I would go somewhere, I would be referred to as an American
Yep.
before as a black person in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And when I come back to the States, then, then a lot of, Trayvon Martin and all those series of things happened, which kind of awakened, like, I guess you become very aware of your blackness, I guess, on a different level, because in the military is very mixed. I feel like so there's less of those conflicts, especially overseas. I wonder, did you like? I don't know. Can you speak to any of that? Was that part of your? It's weird. You go somewhere else, you start learning about your own identity.
Correct. I agree 100%. I joined the military at 23 years old, so that was the first time I had ever left the country. And my first duty station was Korea, and landing in Korea and just just being like, wow, the world is so much bigger than Charleston, South Carolina, where it's very black and white. It's the South for real. You know what I mean? And even before that, we lived in Miami, Florida. I left Charleston in the ninth grade, which is why I dropped out in the 10th grade. And we moved to Miami, Florida, and that was the first time I had ever seen Haitians and Jamaicans and Cubans and all of the multinationals there. And I was like, man, where I'm from, this is black and white. You might see a Mexican, but very, very black and white. So being in the military, it did diversify, your thought process. You're still very black because there is racism in the military and biases and prejudice and all of the things. But when you get out and you start traveling, yeah, you are American. You are American. That was the first time that I was like called an American and not African American or black. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's a really profound thing that you go somewhere else, and that's when you become American. And then when you come back, I remember I got back, um, and I'm in the Philadelphia area, and I went to like a soccer game, and the police rolled up on me. It was like at night. I backed into the parking spot. They had the flashlights. They were very mean to me, I'll say,
Right.
and I was just
Yeah.
like, "What the heck is going?" You know what I mean? And so like
Yep.
some of those things start to make you think deeper about like your identity and who you are, and like, dang, I just because that wanted to happen in Germany like that, which is
Nope.
crazy to think. You go to another country, you get treated as an American versus being a black person is crazy to me. I always think about that. Um, can we talk about your military experience? Well, actually, wait. So what's up with the Job Corps? I don't know anything about it, but that's pretty interesting that you joined the Job
Mhm.
Corps, and I guess that starts off your worldly travels a little bit. Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah. Yeah, so my childhood has been what was very interesting. I come from a great family, middle class blacks from the South. But my mom made a decision that gave me a quite different childhood than hers, even her own childhood. And so I was born to an attic in 1982, and that started off the traumatic childhood experience. So by the time I made it to high school, it was no coming back. And my grandmother, shout out to my old lady, she's no longer with us, but I'm the only grandchild that used to call her old lady, even though she was young. um I I had failed, and I believe the 10th grade again, and I was 17 at that time because we moved back to Charleston from Miami, and it just wasn't conducive. And my grandmother was like, "Listen, I'm not gonna make you do this again. We're not gonna embarrass you and have you in school, 18, 19 years old, and your peers are graduating." And I had already failed the 3rd grade, moving from Charleston to Atlanta, Georgia. And so my childhood was very, very hectic you know. Um, and so she said, "Well, there's two things we could do: the military or we could do Job Corps." And I was like, "I ain't going to nobody military at no 17. Not doing it. I don't want to do it." We just came back from Miami, Florida. I was actually thriving in Miami, actually passing all of the things. And then I got back to Charleston and it just was like, whoop.
Mm.
So I was like, can I go to Job Corps and then I could just get back to Miami? They had one in Homestead, Florida. And I was like, yeah, let me go back. So they didn't have no beds left. And so what Job Corps is a trade vocational school for young adults who either voluntarily go or forced
Oh,
by the justice system, right?
oh,
Um, and so the only place they had an opening was in Louisville or Simpsonville, Kentucky. Um, and so I chose that. I said, forget it. I was like, Kentucky, is there black people in Kentucky? I got to Louisville. Hey, Jesus, like our Nigerian friends, the black people everywhere in Louisville. I mean, my goodness. Then I get to Job Corps. The first day they having a riot. I said, oh my God, what the heck have I gotten myself into? Um, so it was one of those, situations where it was hood now. But I did get my little business clerical certificate or something like that in my GED, after playing around for 2 years in Job Corps. Don't judge me, y'all. But your girl was a rebel. Your girl was definitely a rebel, and super tomboyish and daring and risky and all of the things. So that's kind of my story with Job Corps.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Point a note to the chat. You guys ask your questions. I'm saving them. I'll bring them up when they're appropriate. I'm producing everything, so I'm trying to keep track of everything, and I have a certain amount of questions that I want to like have a order to this, unlike how I do these things sometimes.
No,
Because
it's okay.
Kea has a really interesting background. I just want to build it out for you guys. So ask your questions. I'm saving them. I'm not ignoring your comments. Also, a lot of people in the chat were giving you a lot of love. I don't know if you can see the screen. It might be kind of
Mhm.
small,
Yeah,
but a lot
yeah,
of
it's
people
good.
are
I can
excited
see it.
to have you in here, and they love the introduction. MH said it was well deserved. So you got a lot of
Okay.
respect in the community, and that's why I was reaching out. So I'm super excited.
Okay.
Um, let's keep it going. So I guess so. It's funny that you said I'm not joining nobody's military. So I had a friend who went when they were 17, and they were telling me about the experience and everything, and were trying to tell us to go because you could go your junior year in the summer and then come back or something. There was a program for that,
Mhm.
and I just remember Boys in the Hood and my dad in the back of my mind, like, the black man ain't got no place in the white man's army. Like, I would just always think
That's how I
that.
felt. Yes, that's how I felt too.
The recruiters would come around, and I'm like, heck no. And then,
No.
Iraq is going on, and it's like, are you crazy? Heck no.
Yep.
So what happened that you ended up joining the military after,
I
'cause
had my son. I had my son.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. I was like, all right, shorty, you got a GD. You ain't got really nothing going on for real, for real. You out here wilding. I'm talking about wilding in these streets. You think
Mm,
you a whole gangster, okay? Um, Shorty, you gonna either be dead for real or you gonna be in prison, like for real. Like I really thought I was a gangster. So, um, um, I chose the military for my son, who is now 19 years old.
oh, wow. Was
Yeah.
it like, were you excited to go in some aspect? Like, where did that influence come to join the military? Like, did a recruiter come up to you, or did you come up to that idea on your own, or?
No, I come from a military family. And so my grandfather did 30 years on the submarine. He actually went down in the history being one of the first black master chief of a submarine. My uncle was in the Navy. I had a couple cousins in the Air Force, aunts in the Air Force, and Coast Guard. So heavy on military and in my family. So it was just one of those things like, are you gonna give your son the same childhood that your mother gave you, or are you gonna, And then when I met his father was in the Navy. So it was just like, yeah, well, this is the easiest route to get your life together. Let's just go ahead and do it.
Okay, yeah, yeah, because I don't have any family background in the military. I just,
Oh
you know,
wow.
later I just looked, why pay for college when I can join, and all the benefits and all that kind of stuff. But it still seemed crazy at the time because I didn't have any familiarity with military life or any of that. It was like
Mhm.
taking a chance. But it's interesting because I think it sets people up for life. I mean, the military is a great
Yeah,
thing to
they
do.
do.
I mean, they don't let you fail. Well, at least back then, especially because they weren't kicking anybody out because they needed everybody to deploy. So
Yep.
I think it was a good avenue. Do you feel like you learned a lot about leadership and discipline in the military? Like, do you think it was an overall good experience? Like, what did you take from your military time?
So I'll say before I even joined the military, I had always had low self-esteem. And like people in my family, even though shout out to my family, I come from I have to keep saying this because I do love my family, and I come from a really, really good family. But you know how some people, you know, how them old people compare you to other, you know, people in the family, and or they don't think you that smart because you bad or whatever. And so that was
Mm.
my experience. So I literally did not think that I was smart. I didn't think I could do half of the stuff that I have accomplished at all. So when I passed my, because people really thought I was slow, and then I really believed it too, honestly, because I was just a rebel, but not a rebel just want because I wanted to. Was, you know, my childhood and all of the things, you know, that
Right.
come with that. And so when I passed my GED, I shocked myself. I was like, oh my God, I have a brain. I can actually pass a test. I'm telling you, I know it sounds crazy. Then
I
when I
understand.
passed the ASVAB test and I fell asleep and woke up and passed it and made a higher score than my cousin who actually graduated from high school and went to the Coast Guard. And it was that aha moment, even to prove to my grandparents, like, aha, y'all said she was smarter than me. Look, you know. And then I joined the military, and then I passed basic training. I passed AIT. You know, what is it, AIT or ATI? I can't even remember.
I see.
Is
I
it
know. I'm like
You
with
are you
you.
ex-army?
Yeah, Army. Yeah. Same.
All right, okay. Yeah. And so then, yes, it gave me confidence. I started meeting people and I'm talking, they're like, oh, you're smart. I was like, I haven't heard that in, you know, in my childhood. This is this is strange. This is good, you know. Um, and as I started to move around in the military, it boosted my confidence. It educated me in ways I didn't think would. And I still was a rebel in the military now. Um, but it did help me with discipline. It helped me to take life a little more serious. You know, I
Mm.
think I was a goof troop before I joined the military as well, just super goofy, not taking nothing serious. Everything is like, I don't care. Like, it is what it is type of situation. So it did help me in that.
Yeah, I just remember that first day, not even a basic training, but when you're in the in processing, I was in Fort Jackson,
Yeah,
and
me too.
the alarms were going off, and you wake up in the morning and everyone's yelling and screaming, and you don't know anyone there, and it's like, yo, no one in this whole place cares about me or my life or anything. They just want you to do what you're supposed to do. And that's a way different thing from leaving home where you got people, you know, at least somebody cares about you in some degree. It's like, yo, you got to grow up. This is a different
Yep,
thing over here. Like
yep,
late, no one cares. They just gonna punish you, you know. So
yep.
it I found it a very foundational, and I didn't really have like a discipline problem as a kid or anything like that. I definitely was like hard headed doing my own thing, but it gives a different structure and a seriousness to life, I think, for sure, especially deployments, you know, and going
Yeah,
overseas, which we'll get to.
yeah, yeah.
Um, let me see. The Wandering Lawyer. This is Franklin from FKC Legal. Thanks a lot for setting this up, Ryan. As a Kenyan, I'm looking forward to the insights that Wakesho will share. So I see what is beautiful here from a foreigner's perspective. A lot of Kenyans on here, probably on your channel too. They're so curious. I see Freedom's question, and we're going to get to it because he's asking why Kenya, why not South Africa or Ghana. But I'm gonna hold that because I want to build up and get to that point because I think we're building the story of kind
Get
of how
there,
you're
get
coming
there.
along, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
guess the next step, you know, in the military is going to Korea, which I've done a lot of research and heard you talk about a lot of these things. I think, is this where you met someone from Kenya as well? That kind of
And
was kind of,
mhm.
but
So when I got out of the military,
oh,
I
I'm
like,
sorry. I'm getting ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So tell me
okay.
about Korea because traveling internationally as a young person, I think, ironically, I think it's maybe part of the reason why I was able to feel comfortable. I came to Kenya myself in 2024 in January. Like I just
Mhm,
said, something I want to do. I
mhm.
don't think a lot of people are that brave to do that if they don't have any experience. So, how was it going to Korea? Again, you're just there probably with your son. Did you bring him to Korea or did he stay? Because I
Mhm.
know option or whatever when you go.
Right. Yeah, I did the fake marriage and everything.
Ah, okay. I considered the fake marriage for sure.
I did fake marriage, so I didn't have to give up full like thing to his father, even though his father is a great father. Shout out to my son's father. Um, and so he stayed with his father's family in Miami, and his father is Haitian. So my son is half Haitian, so he got to, dive into that culture and grow up around that. And so yeah, when I got to Korea, I was there on my own, 23 years old, and just like wow. I instantly fell in love with Korea. Shout out to Korea, man. Korea is awesome. The food was great. The people were awesome. It was super ahead of its time in terms of technology, and it's ahead of the U.S. for sure in technology. And I just had a great time. Now, in the army, when you go to a duty station, ain't nothing but partying, partying, and partying. So
Heard about
it
Korea.
was dope.
It's similar to Germany. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it was. I loved Korea. I haven't been to Korea since then, but I hope to go back to pay my homage to Korea for opening up my eyes to travel.
23, Korea, you got some money in your pocket and
Yeah,
not a lot of expenses, probably.
yeah. Staying in the barracks. Yeah.
So, what was your experience like? You get to the airport in Korea, and what was like your impression? How did you feel? Like,
Mm.
how did that affect your perspective?
I was just yeah, I was overwhelmed by it all because it was a culture shock for one, right? I had never been out of the US ever. Up until then. And then when I do leave, I go by myself in the military. You know what I mean? So we actually went to Japan first, and then we went to Korea. Um, and it was again just a culture shock. I felt like an adult. I tell you that much. I felt like an adult. I was like, aha, I've made it. I am an adult now. I'm on my own. I got my own little money. I got me a little debit card. I got my bank account with USAA. You can't tell me nothing. I think that's what I can remember in terms of just getting off the plane and just feel like I've made it. I've made myself proud that I actually completed something, and now I'm starting my life.
That's important. That's important. So, you were a 42 Alpha?
I was a
And
42 Alpha.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, see, I know. Okay. So could you explain like what your job and role was in the military and some of the things that you did and maybe talk about deployment?
Yeah, I was proud that I had passed the as and made a high enough score to become a 42 Alpha, which is HR. And I was like, okay, that was another moment that I was super proud, and my family was proud, and I was starting to prove that I got something going on here. And so, as a 42 Alpha, I actually worked at brigade level. So not only did I get my dream job, but I actually worked at brigade level my entire time in the army. Yeah, so that's pretty big. And I was the S1. I was in S1 at brigade. So I did awards. I did evals. I did ID cards. I was in charge of the ID card room. I did mail room, in charge of mail room because I made it to E5. Um,
Oh, wow.
and
What's that,
um,
4 years? That's pretty good.
yeah. Um, what else did I do? You do so much as HR, but those are some of the things. I think when we were deployed in Iraq, Mosul, I was in charge of the ID card room.
Oh,
Which is big because you got people. Those guys, them infantry guys coming in and out. They got to get their IDs. You making sure the colonel and the G, not the G1, the S1, your colonel, lieutenant colonels, all of that. I mean, working for all of these guys close to them, so you got eyes on you always.
you guys would S1 would really bother me. I was in a line unit. I was a signal person, 25 Bravo. But so, administrators, oh, they would get on my nerves. You go in there, they're all mean to you. If
I
you didn't
never
do
was
like,
mean to them.
oh,
I
really?
never was. I never, well, you know that what they say, don't be mean to the cooks.
Yep. Supply.
Infantry. Yeah. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not mean to them.
Oh man, then you didn't have the right paperwork. They'd send you back. It'd take all day because I don't know what I'm doing. And everything's an acronym. You need a
Right.
whatever XYZ form 721. Like, oh, I don't know. The worst. Even to this day, that's one thing I hate is all that paperwork. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because I'm sure some of those skills help you today with what you're doing, being organized, getting everything together, because that stuff seems like a nightmare to me, making sure even managing ID cards and whatever you have to do for that. Because for the audience, I mean, this stuff has to do with security as well. Like you can't,
Correct.
like, the ID cards are very important.
Yeah.
So
I had a
how did,
secret clearance.
yeah, exactly. Same. Yeah. So they don't play with that stuff. It's a serious thing. How did that
Yeah.
experience, kind of relate to what you're doing now? Like, did it help build some of the foundation? Because that experience, I mean, like I would put it on my resume as far as when you're kind of doing like logistics, relocation. It's kind of in the same type of
It's the
world,
same. Yep. It's the same movement. So I'm glad that you point that out because even as HR, we were in charge of movement of full on battalions, companies, and the brigade to Iraq. We had to go set up in California where you do the training and set up the entire talk. So you do the month or two training before we deployed to Iraq. We were in charge of the manifestation. We were in charge of all the movements, all the flights leaving out, all of the. So essentially, HR was with legit movement of people, not like the logistics of inventory, but the
right?
movement of people and the paperwork with the people. So yeah, for me to be able to kind of correlate that to what I'm doing right now, it helped a lot because to me, if you look at the way that my business is set up and everything that we offer simultaneously, for somebody from the outside in, like, yo, this don't make no sense. How are you able to do all of that in one sitting, right?
Right.
And I gotta give the Army its props for training me well in it. And because I was already at a high level of HR, being at brigade, I mean, the only thing higher than that is G1 and
Right.
working for a general. That really taught me how to also operate at a high level of excellence and precision.
When you're in the army, it feels very chaotic, but
Yes.
probably some of the best experience you can get in that type of field because they have everything down to the minute and the
Yep.
army gets stuff done
Yep.
and very super efficient. So
Yep.
when I heard you were a veteran, I was like, ah, okay, she know how to
You get
put
it.
something together because you have some of the frameworks. So, all right. So let's continue on with your story now. So you did your deployment. You're at brigade level doing high level things on the HR side in the military. Um, the decision to get out. What were you like? I'm doing my time, using my benefits. I'm out of here, or were you considering staying longer? Did you have another job lined up? I know I always planned just to do, my first contract. But I remember getting out and people were like, what are you going to do? As if there's like, you can't get a job or something.
It's
I
the
don't
end
know.
of the world.
A
Yeah.
lot of pressure in that community, in the military
Yes.
community, because you can lean on the military always take care of you. So um, it's kind of a brave decision to get out for most people. So tell me about that decision.
You're gonna laugh because your girl is a rebel. I'm always
Oh,
getting in trouble. So I'm gonna make y'all laugh. And I never shared this story
uh-uh.
on an interview. Even
Exclusive.
my grandfather don't know this, and he doesn't watch stuff, so this is good. I'll just say it anyway. So I got in trouble in Iraq for drinking. I got an
Oh, they
article.
always do it.
I
Young
got an
guys.
Article 15. A
Uh,
good old Article 15. Top of the line, Article 15. Um, at brigade level. Luckily,
mm,
I built a really good rapport with our colonel, our full bird colonel, Colonel Sexton. Shout out to Colonel Sexton if he's still with us. Colonel Sexton held your girl down. White boy from upstate New York. sound like the dude from MASH. But when I got in trouble, I had already built a rapport with Colonel Sexton at training in California. And typically when you're doing training, you have the talk and you have HR, I mean, you have S1 and G1 and all, I mean, not G1, whatever, all of S4, S3, all of those in the talk. And when the colonel walks into the talk, you have to call the talk to attention, the brigade to attention. And so it was the specialist that was doing it. And apparently, I mean, I guess the specialist wasn't there when the colonel was about to walk in, and I happened to be standing there. Mind you, I'm 5'1", and at that time I probably was 130 pounds, right? But big personality, big, big person, right? And so he walks in and he's like, "Hey, you, call the brigade to attention." I was like, "What?" At that moment, I was a specialist, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" So I, went to attention, and I said, "Brigade attention!" And I said it so loud. He was like, "From now on, you're gonna call the brigade to attention every morning when I get here. I don't care where you are. If I'm standing here, they need to find you. You need to be here." So I did that for the whole 30 days and built the rapport with the colonel. So then, when I got in trouble for drinking, for being, I mean, drunk. I mean, by the time they found me, I was drunk. I won't go into everything that I did, but it was hilarious, right? And I got a Article 15. And when I sat on the red carpet in front of the colonel, this is in Iraq, he said, he used to call me Kiddo. He's like, "Kiddo, what do you want me to do? Like, where did you get the drink up?" I made up a story. He said it was a National Guard unit that already left and all of this other stuff. And, I had a traumatic, huh?
The Australians.
Yeah. They're gone.
Get
They're gone.
alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a bad childhood growing up, so I probably need help and the whole thing. So he suspended taking my rank and taking my pay because he knew I was a single mom and he was raised by a single mom in New York.
Mm.
But here's the kicker. 6 months later, I get off of the overweight program, even though I was small. You know how they do us with the hips and all of that.
Yeah.
I re-enlisted, and then I get promoted, right? All in the 6 months, and I get off of extra duty, all of that, right? 6 months later, we get back to Hinesville, Georgia, Fort Stewart, and I'm the first one in the entire brigade to get a DUI. And they were waiting for us to get back. They were waiting. He told me I was good. Then he came back and was like, "I need you to take the breathalyzer again." That was a whole thing. Racist white boy, Hinesville finest. And essentially, the general had just put out no tolerance for DUI. And they just had passed a law. If you got in trouble off post, now you're accountable for on post. So this was October 2010. So they did bust me down to battalion, and I built a rapport with battalion, bust my behind until I didn't know whether I was going to get chaptered or not. They put in my chapter paperwork, and I'm like, dang, what am I going to do? So I went in front of the colonel again with my now new chain of command, which were all women. He had never seen this as long as he'd been in the military, a whole chain of command of women crying, begging the colonel to retain me. Let me go to Maryland. I already re-enlisted. I have a child. Let me. And he was like, "Kiddo, what do you want me to do?" And I said, "Sir, just allow me to get out of the military and get a job and take care of my son. That's all I need, sir. I did wrong. I'm not going to ask you for no favors. That's that." Now, this is a full bird colonel. My chapter sat on his desk for 4 months. He went to the general himself and asked the general of the entire freaking regiment. Is it the regiment? The whole, like the post. What is it called? I forgot. The post. The 2-star general. I got out of the military. The day that I was signing out, right? There's a black man. You know when you sign and you get your little certificate, all that stuff, when you get in your DD 214 and all of that stuff. This black man looked at me at Fort Stewart, been there for 30 days. He said, "Listen to me. I don't know who you know, what you did, but baby, I ain't never seen nobody get discharged from the military with an honorable discharge for a serious offense.
Mm. Yeah, that honorable is important. So for the chat, if that honorable discharge, if you get anything other, it's hard to get a job. It really messes you up. But I'm actually
I got out.
surprised.
Yeah.
Uh, so I was at JSS sites, so I wasn't at any main bases for much of my deployment in Iraq. I
Okay.
was there's like 40 people there, like we're outside, and when I would come back, a lot of people were drinking. But we had a lot of people get in trouble, but I haven't seen anyone get chaptered. I mean, people was on drugs, people was doing a lot of stuff. So you telling that story, because again, for the audience, like during this time, we had Iraq and Afghanistan going on. They were taking felons, they were taking anybody to the military, and you could be overweight. The tattoo waivers, like at the time,
Yep.
I feel like they weren't kicking anybody out. So that's interesting that they actually did the chapter, because we had people do way worse stuff, and they might have lost their rank and got punished really bad, but they didn't get sent out. But
But remember, it was back to back. Remember, I got the Article
yeah,
15 in Iraq. Then 6 months later, I get home and I get a DUI. And he had just passed no
uh,
tolerance for DUI.
yeah.
Yeah,
But also being at brigade is probably it, because the line units are like, you
correct.
guys don't want
Correct.
to.
Yeah, at the line unit, I probably would have been good, but yeah, I was at brigade level, and this was my second time, and less than like within 6 months, less than a year, getting in trouble for a serious offense.
Because we'd have sergeants, and then all of a sudden they're like a private again, a PP 1, 2, and then they'd be a sergeant again, and then they'd be a private. And for you guys listening, I mean, Article 15 is a punishment that you get in the military, which is really brutal, because they can take your
Yep.
pay, and
Yep.
you take your pay, but you still working. Actually, you're going to get extra duty in Iraq.
Yep. I got extra duty. Yep.
I seen guys, all their body armor, their full gear is 100,
Me too.
105 degrees. They fill in sandbags all day. Oh,
That- He had me matching rocks at
yeah.
brigade, and I'm an E5. Matching rocks. So then I just started acting stupid. Every time the colonel walked by, I'll get up and I'm like, Army strong, sir. He's like, Simmons, something wrong with you, Simmons. Something's wrong with you. And so I was still building that rapport. So even when I got the chapter, he vouched for me to get an honorable discharge. So I got out the military as if I ETS'd out. And I got out the day that I was supposed to ETS.
Oh, okay. So basically, you just couldn't. I mean, they kind of looked out for you, because you couldn't re-enlist basically, but
Yeah,
it's like you
I
just
could
got out.
re-enlist. I got out and I got an honorable discharge. No, they more than looked out. That's massive. Like even when people see my DD 214 and it says honorable discharge for a serious offense, they're like, "How did that even happen? That doesn't even happen."
Yeah, because usually it'd be other than, at least
Yep.
other than would have been
Uh,
a lookout, really, because they, dang, okay,
Yeah. So that's
very.
the story. That's how I got out.
Oh, I appreciate you sharing all that. But yeah, I'm glad because I was like, dang, you've done a lot of media. I hope I could cover some things that you haven't talked about before. So
Never told that. My grandma left this earth not knowing I got kicked out of the army.
wow.
My grandfather still don't know.
Okay, okay, yeah. Hey, they don't. I mean, on paper, you didn't really get kicked out, really. Exactly, But anyway, um, so getting out, then what happened? I mean, what? Because
Yeah.
you.
So we was in Iraq. We was in Iraq, Mosul, and I met contractors, and I started dating this contractor. You know how it is. Um, and so
We
he
didn't have.
works.
How was that? It was
Oh
just. It
yeah.
was rough.
No, you gotta have you a cut buddy downrange. That's the truth. You gotta have a.
I would come back. I'd come back. I would go back to Camp Victory and back there. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? They got
Hey,
girlfriends. People are drinking and getting in trouble. We were eating MREs, which is meals ready to eat, cold. We didn't have nothing.
oh my
Poor
God. Yeah,
bodies
you
in
were
the burn.
downrange.
We had to burn the poop. We was out there.
Oh, yeah, we had to burn poop in my first deployment. I did two deployments back to back.
Oh,
But
okay.
um but yeah, so I started dating this contractor who worked for Mantech. And Mantech was paying ridiculous. I mean, he
I
was
was
making 275
I
to
was
do
so mad.
nothing.
I, I I dealt with IT guys that did literally the same job with the same equipment, and they're getting literally like 10 times what I'm getting paid, like 200, 300,000. And the army pay, what are we getting? 50.
38.
Yeah. With the bonus and all that,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
nothing,
yeah, yeah.
man.
E5 at that time I was making 38,000. Like, so when I'm talking to this dude, and he's like, now, of course, he's a mechanic, but he making 275. That's
Mhm.
crazy. So then, before I left or whatever, he gave me all the information for contracting. And I had a girlfriend of mine who went to Job Corps with me, and she did the Air Force and got out, and she was contracting, um, either in Iraq or Afghanistan somewhere. And so I got out. 3 months later, I got picked up with DynCorp.
Okay.
Um, and so DynCorp is an aviation company that actually do the maintenance for Air Force One, but they had a government contract with the Army in Afghanistan, Kandahar, and I went from 38,000 in July 2011. I was making 80,000, and then the following month I went from 80,000 to 130,000. So come on.
And that tax free, right? When you're
Tax free up
overseas.
to 100K at that time. Tax free up to 100K.
And you couldn't do that without the honorable discharge. So see how like it all connects.
Yes, of course.
Dang. Okay. So how did you get to Kenya?
So I get to, I get to, hold on for a second. I'm sorry.
Hmm. And guys, keep asking.
Afghanistan,
Say,
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yep, you're here. You good?
Okay. I get to Afghanistan, and there were a lot of Kenyans. They called them FNs, foreign nationals, that were working the same contract that I was.
Oh,
And then I met my brother, James Maluasi from Bamburi, Mombasa. And I thought he was Black American, but he had been hanging around us so much. He started picking up our lingo and everything. I thought he was, I was like, I thought he at least been to the States. And no, he was just in Afghanistan hanging around us. You know what I mean? And him and I started talking. He started telling me about Kenya and how beautiful it is. And this is when I was starting my enlightenment, kind of, reading all the books, watching all the documentaries, watching Sonetta TV,
what's it-
Dr.
what
Umar.
got you into that? What got you into that though?
How did I? Okay, no. One of my homeboys who is no longer with me gave me the Hidden Colors uh, DVD.
Mm,
This was in 2011. And you had Tyreek Nasheed, you had Dr. Umar on there, you had Dr. Valentine on there, you had the greats, the scholars on there. And
okay.
this is when I'm learning about John Henry Clark, Francis C. Welsh, all of the greats. And that DVD changed my life. Like, I'm like,
Mm,
wait a minute. Why don't we know all of this information? Like, it tapped into my DNA so much. So I was like, holy crap, we've been lied to. And then I ended up watching the Zygas documentary, and that changed my whole perspective about religion and about spirituality. And once you start going down the religion rabbit hole, it opens up to, now you got to go to Africa. You got to think about the beginning. What were we practicing before? Why are we all Christians and Black America now? And and that's how it kind of started. Yeah, yeah,
interesting, interesting.
yeah.
Okay, and you met your Kenyan friend, which is it's funny how people's story. I really like think it's really crazy how people's stories all come together because all these moments in time, right? Like, what if you didn't meet um, this friend, right? Or what if you weren't a contractor at that time? Like, where would you
I
be?
wonder.
You thinking
You're
about?
right. Hmm.
So okay, you started getting exposed to the culture through some of the Kenyan nationals while you're on your contracting mission.
Exactly. And he just was telling me how beautiful the country was and all of the things. And so at this point, I'm like, shoot, I'm becoming super Pan African. I'm in the angry woman stage of going through the enlightenment period. So I'm angry about everything. I'm like, I don't like nobody. I need to go see this myself. So I was in that, yeah, that pro black angry stage. Everything is about being black, 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 black. And so I was like, yep, it's time to go to the motherland. Let's do it. And so I ended up going August that year, not too long from being in Afghanistan, August 2011. And I landed at Moi International, and I was flabbergasted. I said, "Oh my God, we have been lied to, bamboozled, and hoodwinked." And this is, for my Kenyans who are watching, this is how long I've been coming here since Kibaki was president, and the Kenyan shilling was 88 to the dollar. So they were doing great. I'm talking about 2K was almost $20. I'm like, hold up, this ain't stretching too much, over here. Like, what's going on? It was, the economy is doing very well. And to get to Mombasa and be in Bamburi. And the first night we stay at his aunt's house. And I know this is going to sound ignorant, so don't come for me, Kenyans. But while I didn't think anybody was living in a hut, I didn't know it was that modern. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. And when I went to Kenya, ain't nobody talking about going to no Africa. Like,
Uh-huh.
what? Everybody thought I was crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And we get into her house and she got a flat screen TV, a microwave, surround sound system. It looked like somebody on House in the States. And I'm like, damn, we've been lied to. Like, what? Then I wake up the next morning, we walk through the neighborhood and it looked like Miami, Florida. I'm like,
Mm.
this is crazy. Why didn't we? And half of these people living better than us. What is going on? And so that kind of started that journey.
For the Kenyans, you have to forgive us because we were fed a propaganda. I mean, that's where the African booty scratcher, and there's probably like a overall negative connotation because all you see is charity trips to Africa and poverty and all these horrible things. And you're never taught the history. We only really know European or Westernized history. And actually, when I go seeking out pre colonial African history, I still can't really find anything, even though I'm seeking it out. So, our perspective, especially back then, before that, and a lot of Kenyans wonder, oh, well, why do you guys make content? Why are you guys doing all this YouTube? Why are you guys doing all that? It's like, because we've been lied to and we're trying to, or at least me, want to expose people to different information. And I think it's important, especially for Black Americans, because I do think many of us coming have a different type of connection. I know East Africa, the lineage is a little bit different than West, but overall, I think we're coming with good intent and that reconnection aspect. So please forgive us. If you're from an area and this is all you're given, I mean, it's hard to break out of it. So I guess my next question would be, okay, you visit, you're like, dang, and I think many of us even today have that type of experience, not to the same degree because there's more information, but it's still like you could start seeing like, oh man, a different way of life out here. Maybe this is a better way to be, and then and I don't really lean that much into the pro black stuff as much, but being around all people that look like you, and actually Austin talked about it, is like sometimes people can't tell that you're from somewhere else. Feels really good for us probably as Black Americans, for many of us, because that is not the case in the US. And that goes back to my point with being in Germany, is I'm more American in Germany than I am in America. Not, and I don't like downgrading America, but I do want to point that experience out to Kenyans, because Um, I guess we'll get to Freedom's question, which is appropriate at this time, because he's Kenyan, and he said, "I'd like to ask her the question Ryan has never been able to answer: Why Kenya? Why not South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, or anywhere else?"
Yeah, I get asked that like all the time. And I keep it very simple. The people.
Mm.
The people. Hands down, Kenyans are the most hospitable people you'll ever meet in your life. Some of the most welcoming people you'll ever meet in your life, and they instantly make you feel like your family. Instantly. And I've been to 9 other African countries, and excuse me, eight other African countries, and I've been to 46 countries in the world, and I've lived in 8 of them. And out of all of those countries, Kenya by far made me feel like home. I couldn't explain it. I couldn't explain it outside of just it's the people. It's the people.
I know. I've been trying because I feel the same way about that. Although I haven't been to other African countries yet, which I'll be doing soon. But I even get that sense from watching people's content, like, and I don't know what words to use. Right, the warmth. Like, I feel like it's very cliche at this point. Like the
Yeah,
welcome, warmth. I feel like so many people have said that. That is like, what does that really mean? That's why I haven't made a video about it, because I don't really know how to describe it beyond the warmth and welcoming feeling that you get specifically in Kenya, and kind of in the region of East Africa is more like that. I
yeah,
assume that East Africa is kind of more like the South in the United States in a way, where it's a little bit like people speak
it
to each
is.
other. Like where
It
I'm
is.
at, and hi to somebody is like, why are they talking to me?
It is. It is like the South, and that I don't think you will not be able to articulate because it's I when I first saw Magical Kenya, I thought it was corny, but then when you start integrating with the people, you're like, no, they're really magical. They're really magical in terms of making you just feel like you just. I mean, you'll meet a Kenyan, they'll invite you to their daggone house in the village today. Like who does that? You know what I mean? And so, and then the non-aggressive society
Mhm.
um, makes a difference. So you don't have to deal with that super aggressive kind of environment that you do see in Nigeria. No shade to Nigeria. Um, and some West African countries, but East Africa, there's a calmness. It's more modern and structured in terms of infrastructure. Um, Very westernized enough for us to feel comfortable. That's
Mhm.
another thing. And then I don't want to deal with no Mzungu, so I wouldn't do South Africa. And I've been to South
So
Africa, and it just I was turned off, and I'm
yeah,
just like,
it's
yep,
the
nope,
US. Yeah. Let me
yeah,
ask you though, because Black Americans are wired quite a bit different. We're the antithesis of a lot of those things.
yep,
Um, East Africa, and these are kind of some of the things that I touch on, especially doing business.
yep.
Uh, we are not that generally. So how do you reconcile those two things? Because for me, I want to be a warmer person that checks in on people, and before I message someone about business, at least chat with them a little bit, because I'll be like, "Hey, did you get the form?" And I know I'm being rude when I talk to Kenyans that way, or just not how they would do it, because they would talk to you more. How do you like put those two things together, and how do you think as a collective, because you're doing relocation primarily to Kenya, for Black Americans, how do we put those two things together? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, you have to there's adjustment because it's going to work against you here in Kenya. It's just not going to work. The super aggression is not going to work. And so you learn that the hard way. I had to learn that the hard way. Showing up at the government offices 3 times to prove that I'm serious and I need things done actually doesn't work. It works against you. And I think I talked about this on O'Shea Jackson's interview in Kiganda, and it went crazy on IG, and Kenyans are like, well, no, that's, I said, the culture is very passive aggressive. But there's also a microaggression that's growing. You know what I mean? Underneath it all,
You think it's
that
passive aggressive? I think it's
yeah.
actually just passive. Like,
I would say it's passive aggressive because they'll say no in a way that you're like, okay, are you saying no, or is it maybe, or is it, you know what I mean? But
I
not very
love
direct.
that because and you have way more experience than me. My perspective on that has been the politeness supersedes everything, and no is not polite. So, and Kenyans, please comment. Like, if they don't say yes, it probably means no. But you do get left to wonder.
Yeah, that's that passive aggressiveness, like, you know what I mean? And it's
Is
like,
that aggressive
you
or
know,
that? I don't know if that's aggressive. I feel like passive aggressive would be like that. They're not. I don't think that's being mean. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's
no,
aggression there.
it's not being mean, but it's not being straight. I mean, but it's trying to be direct without being direct. So to me, it's just like, okay, you being super passive aggressive, and then or I gotta email you 17 times for you to say no, we're not interested, or no, it's crazy. So you just have to, very non-confrontational as well.
So how
So
do you approach that now then?
so you have to unlearn a lot of stuff. You have to unlearn some of the aggression. But I did implement that in my business, even with my team. And so it was like a culture immersion. That's why I renamed the company Traverse Culture. Because the nucleus is in the culture and learning about each other and the way we operate. And so even when I hired my first team of men that I had to fire,
Yeah, I've heard.
all seven of them, and then hired a woman-led team. Even when I first hired my first employee, I had to. I was very direct. I didn't care that she was crying. I
Mm,
was like, "Hey, let's get it done." Very military, very straightforward. And she actually, to this day, she said she appreciated that approach. Um, because I could have just sugarcoated, and we still would be doing the same thing. But as soon as we had that very direct conversation and my expectations on what I wanted her to do and how this company would be led and how we would be treating our clients and how we would move people around in a way of excellence,
mm.
um, she got it. And now my entire team operate almost like I do, or I did. I might be a bit more lenient now, and they're like, no, we got to get this done. This, that, to the third. And so we've had a great fusion of business culture, and then we've been able to create a great business culture within my company as well, too. So both work together.
That's really interesting that you were able to build that culture with your perspective in Kenya. Like, how was that? Well, because you said you had an all men team. So what? Like,
Yeah.
tell me about the approach that didn't work, and then how you recalibrated it. Because many people on here are interested in some kind of business, and I'm like, guys, there's a lot to learn. Like, because again, you've been in Kenya for a very long time with experience here. Like, you think you're just going to show up and be able to navigate cultural differences and HR and interpersonal dynamics? I think that's really challenging. So could you share some of your experiences hiring a team, which I have so much respect for? I really love that. Like, you're putting money in people's pockets, you're employing people there, which I think a lot of us aspire to do.
Yeah, it wasn't easy because when you're going into another culture and then saying that you want to do business, and mind you, we also do business in Central America, Belize and Panama,
Mhm.
and I worked with the government there as well. Um, you you really have to integrate, and that take time. But then you also have to make sure that you do create that network and those guardrails around you. But then that take time too, because some people gonna want to try to rip you off. Some people
Mhm.
gonna smile in your face and be asking your damn clients behind your back for money. Some people try to take over, especially the men who I had hired, thought that they can do what I do better than me. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
if
mean,
you could, then why? You want to
so
stop there?
the men are polite misogynists, and you definitely emphasized having an all men team, and that didn't work. So, like, what about
Yeah.
like what What about that?
I thought it would be cool, to it just organically happened for me to hire all men. I had
Hmm.
to integrate with women, the Kenyan women. I typically work with a lot of men in Afghanistan. So coming here, some of my Kenyan friends who work with me in Afghanistan, then worked for me here, right? And so, the integrity level, it was just like, come on, man. Or again, you thought that you can do the job better than me, then why didn't you do this before I got here? Or just taking orders from a woman. And I'm a
Mm.
really easygoing person. I'm kind of even keel, the same person every day. I'm from
Oh,
the South, so I'm not, super. And I'm not one of those women who just have an attitude for no reason. I'm pretty laid back, pretty easygoing. And so, but still, they still would do some really crazy things or giving me high
mm.
prices that I didn't even know I was getting. You know what I mean? And putting together the logistics for me and take it from the top. You know what I mean? So I'm paying more than I'm supposed to be paying. And then I meet somebody and like, nah, that was only supposed to be like 6K. And why are you paying 15K for that?
Were you aware of those type of things happening there? Like, because I watch a lot of Kinganda and people talk about these type of issues. So they're in my mind before I even try to execute on anything, right? But you're kind of like a bit of a pioneer at the time that you were there. Were you aware of those type of issues when you're trying to run your business and hire locally and all that?
Nope.
Mm.
No, 'cause I didn't go to school for business or anything or international business. I just was like,
Well,
hey,
I'm
I
saying,
want to start.
because
Hmm?
uh, there's a lot of talk like if you hire somebody, then they try to take some side business and have them pay them directly, and
That's true.
even dealing with the government, you got to pay somebody to even have them do the thing they're supposed to do,
Correct.
like that type of culture. Were you aware of it, those are things to deal with and like maybe how to overcome them?
Yeah, you learn that the hard way.
Mm.
Unless you got
You find out they
people
did
like,
it.
huh?
You find out they did it, and then you're like, oh man, I
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
some.
You found out they do, especially us. Me and O'Shea been knowing each other for about 7 years too. And so him and I are probably, one of the pioneers of coming over here and doing what we're doing. Um, Especially for Kenya, I'm like one of the oldest outside of Troy. I think Troy been here, but he came here through work, so he
Right.
wasn't a actual like transplant, if you will.
Mhm.
But so yeah, you learn because James was at the coast. I didn't have the guardrail when I decided to do business in Nairobi versus Mombasa. So
Mhm.
I came on my own here, and yeah, you just kind of find out the hard way. You find out the hard way. Like I was overpaying.
Mhm.
Um, I was paying like US. And the reason why I'm saying that because it kept being a thing. They wanted more. And I'm like, I'm already paying you like crazy. Right. And I didn't study the labor laws. I didn't study, what the salaries are here, equivalent to whatever jobs I was employing. And it was just, yeah, it had became, can I curse?
Yeah, yeah.
A shit show. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. I have to cut them loose because I'm losing money. I'm losing lots of
Right.
money and credibility because now you're going behind my back and asking my clients for money. And remember,
Mhm.
I started in group travel. And then I also was in partnership with Phil Scott from the Diaspora News Channel. And so he was already almost at 1 million at that time. And so, he has a platform. If that got back to them, that my team was doing this was not a good look at all. Yeah.
It's funny, yeah, that's what and I'm new to all this, but that's what I've been hesitant about because you go on a venture and now your name's on it, especially, um, when you're doing content and then you don't even have control over maybe what the team does. And now I mean, you get blasted. That's really tough. So, wow, that's a lot of pressure to deal with. But it makes me think, you dealt with all those problems. I see a lot of people get discouraged actually coming to the continent, especially trying to do business. How'd you overcome that, especially mentally? Because you can be like, dang, these guys is taking advantage of me, and they think, oh no. And I feel like that could, and especially, and I try to explain this to Kenyans, we're coming with a different type of heart to the continent than just pure business people or anything. Like it, it's hard to explain to them, but for many of us, it means a lot more. And then to have somebody take advantage of you when we want to do business, but I think we want to do good business and be a good community member. And it can be
Yes.
our heart's a little open to get damaged in that way. So how did you overcome that, but also deal with that, kind of emotionally? Like it could be really
Yeah.
somebody does that.
It hurt me. I cried. I was like, damn, I'm trying to do the right thing. You know what I mean? But what we may think is right may not be right for that time. And that's where you have to really integrate and learn the culture. Because you can even put people out of their element. And when they go back to their element, you actually failed them. You know what I mean? Because you
Mm-hmm.
really don't understand the culture. And so for me, it was a lot of learning. I think I paying them what I paid them set them up for failure. And I know that sounds crazy because if
No, I
you
get it. A lot of people come with that aspect. I'm going to pay as much as I can, like, because again, it's not just a business thing. And I think a lot of people think that, like, I'm going to pay double the wages or whatever.
Yeah. And if in their regular life, not living at that standard, and once this
Mhm.
job is over, you've essentially, you know what I mean? And it actually works against you, unfortunately. Not really understanding the culture and actually integrating and operating as a Kenyan company here locally, while being a US based company as well. So it hurt. I have a great support system for my family. 100% sure. I'm still in business because of my family. All of
Mhm.
my business loans is through my family. I don't have any outside business loans. Um, and so my family has encouraged me. I got great friends, and they just kept telling me, and I love this country. I love this country. I love the people. I love us as a people globally. I am super pro Black, super pan African in terms of the empowerment of African people, not all the foolishness that come with the word Pan African, right?
You got to give
Um,
Shay a pep talk. You see what he was
I
talking
talked
about?
to O'Shea. I talked to him a week ago before he started going crazy on the Burkina Faso thing. And I was supposed to go to Burkina Faso actually for
Oh,
delegation. And it was not organized correctly.
mm,
Not ADDI. I was going with the delegation to meet the president.
wow.
And I didn't get my visa in time. So the honorable PLO, they left today and they're going in front of us, and we may be going next next month, next year. But yeah, I talked to him about that whole thing. Listen, O'Shea gonna take, but O'Shea gave me some really good advice, even on that same conversation, where I got upset about the diaspora that's here now, and we can get into that later. But back to what you were saying, be what I was saying before. Excuse me. I was hurt, but my team, my family encouraged me, and then I was blessed to be able to bring a government delegation from Charlotte, North Carolina to Kenya to build a global wealth exchange with Nairobi, Kenya. And that
What?
changed the game completely.
What? And
Yeah,
wow.
2019.
So you reached out to the government?
No, they reached out to me.
They
They
reached out.
saw that I was doing, yeah, they saw that I was doing group travel to Kenya, and I had just came back from Kenya with a group of 30 plus packs, and they saw this was in 2018. They saw what I was doing, and they reached out to me. The commissioner of Mecklenburg County. Yep.
That's incredible. And it's funny for us. Um, I, it feels like there's a lot of opportunity to make those type of connections, because there's not many of
Yeah.
us coming. So there's a lot of opportunity. I see a lot of people doing stuff like that, but not that big with the government relations. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
I think we should backtrack. Can you tell people about Traverse Culture and the services you provide? And because we got in the nitty gritty about your team, but what do you guys do?
Yeah, so we started with Worldviews in 2018, and we started with group travel first. Then we kind of migrated into the government relations under Worldviews. Then we started relocation, and of course, humanitarian CSR work is what we do. Kenya wasn't the only place that or it's not the only place that we travel to or offer services. It's just the main one since I moved permanently, just to kind of just resculpture everything. After rebranding, but we also did group tours to Jamaica, to Senegal, Kenya, Panama, and Belize. And then I had a bad business breakup and started in 2021, which took me from 2021 to 2023 to get out of, and make the decision to just leave and
There.
forfeit whatever I built. Yeah. What I built under Worldviews, it was my baby. Kenya was the cash cow for the company. And I had to make a hard decision. That thing almost took me out. I developed mild depression and paralyzing anxiety. I already have PTSD. I thought I was out of here. I mean, I was so stressed. And then I had people were telling me to keep going. And then by this time, I had a all woman team under Worldviews. And even the women would like, just start all over, Miss Wakesho. And I'm like, but I'm giving up my baby. I'm giving up my baby. I can't give up my baby. And I spoke to AJ Johnson, the actor from House Party, or Baby Boy, the mother.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
her and I became friends. I met her in Senegal, and she's doing great work in Ghana. And she reached out to me after we met in Senegal, and we started building a relationship. And she told me, you can start all over. Nobody's doing business with a name. They're doing business with you. You've built a rapport. So you can call it red, black, and green. They're gonna follow you. And then I had a conversation with my aunt. I was telling her, and she said, Kea, what if the blessing is in the new LLC? What if the blessing is in the new LLC? What if you fighting for something that you ain't even supposed to be fighting for? And I listened. I finally was able to take it in, because before, my pride, my ego, everything was. And I told my aunt, I said, so auntie, you mean to tell me this whole time I was fighting by myself? I was fighting myself? She said, yes. It had nothing to do with that girl. Had nothing to do with that young lady. It was about you. And so I rebranded March the 3rd, 2023, and started over with Traverse Culture. And we took it to another elevation. And so Traverse Culture is a travel concierge company that specializes in humanitarian work, relocation assistance, business development, and now medical tourism inbound to Kenya. Essentially, and we are the only company in the world that offer Afrocentric regenerative travel. And we are the first company in Kenya to push medical tourism inbound from the West to Kenya.
Isn't that crazy? Because, it's again with our misconceptions and the things that we think we're like, we go to Africa to get healthcare. But from being on in Kenya and the level of development, the educated people, like, oh, I see. And then when you see the U.S. insurance system is like, it's a mess.
It's a
And
mess.
you can't get certain things, especially preventative health care or
Yeah.
proactive things, because they just want to give you some pills and throw you out the door. When I saw that you were doing that, making the relationships with the hospitals, I said, oh man, that's really smart. Because in the US, when you see the medical bill, you get an x-ray, it's like $10,000, and you think an x-ray costs $10,000. It doesn't. It's a whole corrupt, crazy system. And I was like, oh man, especially for people. Well, can you tell us like who the medical tourism is good for, the type of services, the type of clients, how that stuff works? Because a lot of people are interested into the kind of the details.
Yeah, so medical tourism is for anybody. We offer any service. So we do cosmetic, we do orthopedic. We've done a few surgeries this year. We've had quite a few clients this year. We actually have had 6 procedures done this year. And we haven't even finished the year yet. And we launched in January. And that's serious to get somebody to come all the way from the US to do fibroid surgery. We did an open fibroid surgery. We're doing a hysterectomy in December. Um, we have also we've done second opinions for cancer treatment.
Mm,
Um,
baby.
we've done, it was something we just did. We just did a gallbladder removal last week.
Wait,
Um,
so could I ask you, why are they not getting those done in the US? Like, what's making
so
them seek elsewhere?
sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get this. My phone was starting to die, so I put the charge on it. Now I'm trying to keep it.
Oh,
So anyway,
balance.
um,
Okay.
yeah, keep it balanced. My thing is up the stairs. I was like, dang it, I should have had it.
I could
But
filibuster for a minute if you got to run,
okay,
grabs.
can you do that? Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would
yeah,
help
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
go to the comments. All right, all right. So while she's doing that, oh, how about we bring me? Okay, here I am. Let's go through some comments, guys. Yeah, so Cool Breeze member, by the way. I'm gonna get to that question. Um, Someone said people downplay it, but hidden colors was very important. Please ask your questions. I'm gonna get to them. I know I'm trying to keep an orderly structure to the interview, so I was trying to find the right times to ask these questions. MH said agree. Tanzanians are lovely too. They're just not confrontational. Um, Oh, you guys were talking about JD Vance. Maybe we'll get to all that. I don't think the right term is passive aggressive, especially from the women. They're far from aggressive. They're socialized very differently. Yeah, it's funny trying to integrate those things. And then um, somebody said something interesting. I'll get to it. Wakesho is a Kenyan coastal name. It's her adopted Kenyan. Yeah, right. That's what I thought it was. Hi, Ryan and Kea Wakesho. You two are my favorite YouTubers. I really appreciate that. It's really cool. And I all guys, we're having a conversation in public, and I always get worried about people, Kenyans, especially being offended, because we definitely don't mean any offense of certain things we say, especially when we're making comparisons. So I appreciate the love and appreciation when you guys get it and like the content, and I always care about everybody's feedback, but the Kenyans in here I always pay attention to. There are those who came 25 years ago and now they have citizenship. Yeah. Just it's becoming, a bigger thing these days. Namibia, South Africa, or Botswana. It's better for many African Americans, especially those who don't want to go to West Africa. Oh, why does everyone promote South Africa? I don't. You guys need to understand that the. Oh, did she come on a different thing? Hey, hey. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Let me move over here.
Yeah,
Boom.
thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
folks need to understand most still have at least one polygamous person in their family. Okay. And Maha said, to all non Americans, you are welcome in Kenya, but you guys should leave American culture in America when you come in Kenya. There's nothing like guns and violation. Please respect our culture. And this is why I was asking you, Kea, how you put the two things together, because, internet comments are funny because it's like, yes, leave some of the negative aspects of American culture, but I think, and your business name, Traverse Culture, kind of speaks to trading a little bit of each other, because I do think, especially in the business field, we have some things that we can bring. I've been criticized here. Sometimes the Kenyans get mad when I talk about like timeliness, and I'm like, guys, sometimes timeliness, the directness that we have. Um, if I'm running a business over there, we gonna get stuff done. And the people in the local market, other Kenyans like interacting with businesses that are on time and direct on what they say they're gonna do. So don't throw the baby away with the bathwater with some of us. I would ask the Kenyans, but look, it's their country. I get it. They can not like some of those things, but I think when you start seeing results, you might appreciate some of the things that some of us are bringing, like Kea. So, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I don't know people. Kenyans can be internet trolls.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe on the internet,
they're,
because
they're
in
like the
real
best.
life, I'll never
They're
see
the
that.
best in Africa. They're the best in Africa. They got it, hands down. So I try not to take it personal, because there's stereotypes, and they put all of us in one box, and we just don't know each other, and that's why I did name the company Traverse Culture. Um, I was in Estonia, and I met this Estonian woman who told me about the history of Estonia. They were oppressed for 400 years, by the Soviet Union, and just to listen to that, to talk to this Estonian woman in Estonia, I we had an instant connection in terms of our ancestry, in
Mm,
terms of being oppressed, and the nucleus was the culture. It was the experience. We don't have isolated uh, experiences as humans.
right.
So no matter what your race, religion, or creed, we all share experience, and they're not isolated, right? Um, so for me, it's intentional to get to know each other. We don't know each other. We keep saying 400 years. We have at least 700 years disconnect. I'm at least 14 generations American, at least 14 generations American. We did the math. I would have had 4,129 ancestors die before I was born in America on the North American soil. So there's a huge disconnect, especially with our East African cousins. Um, and so some of the comments are it's warranted out of ignorance, right? Ignorance is not bad. It's just you don't know.
Right.
We don't know you either. So we're inviting ourselves to your country. And so this is why I'm being intentional with relationship building. And that's why the JPE is important. Because we got to get to know each other before what I like to say is move towards conscious trade and commerce.
Mm,
So while you may think we all are gangbangers, which we're not, that's ridiculous. Relax. Um, we definitely come with some of our American culture does add value, and that's all I want to do is be an added value. I ain't trying to change nothing. I ain't trying to come help you, and you don't need no help. You got enough foreign nationals here that does foreign businesses here where you don't need the Black American community, to be quite frank. Um, but I think we do bring a different edge and value that those other foreign nationals don't bring. And fortunately, and unfortunately, I guess, we are very American as we do have African roots. And so you just have to learn. It takes time. Trust me, I got into another car accident again the third time the other day, like yesterday, and I've lost my shit. Like I lost my shit.
oh
And I
my.
was like, oh my God, I'm being so American. But like so it takes time.
It's funny that you say I felt you, because doing the real estate stuff sometimes, and I always keep in the back of my mind, like, where I am, how things work. But sometimes I'm like, dude,
You have to be authentic,
how are you
sometimes.
playing? Yeah, like,
Yeah,
yo. And actually, the times that I've turned it on, it's worked actually. So, and
right.
I don't like to turn that energy on, because again, it feels bad, but especially when you're dealing with people that, even if they're arguing with you, are being polite. It's kind of a weird thing when
Yeah, they'll hit you with the kindly. Kindly,
oh,
can I take you? Kindly, can I take you to jail? What? Huh? Why would I say yes? You know, so it's just all about relationship building, getting to know each other. Yeah, we're not here to be saviors at at no. If anything, y'all helping us. You got something we need, and we both have something that we can exchange. You offer a safe place, you offer peace, you offer all kind of business opportunities, you offer ancestral connection, you offer. I mean, There's so many things. But then we also come with our resources. We come with the data, the 700 years of data that we could bring to the continent, to train, to all of the things. It's definitely a value added relationship.
Absolutely. So let's get back to this medical tourism because I'm so
Yeah.
curious. Actually, someone brought up the second thing I was going to bring up, the VA. But first, so what
Okay.
drives someone to do the medical tourism? You know, you said the fibroid surgery, hysterectomy, some other things. Um, what's the advantage of doing that? I suppose, or like what scenarios are um, making it where people are coming to use that service?
Right. So the first thing is cost effectiveness. You know, a lot of Americans now are losing Medicaid and Medicare, depending on what the government is going to be doing. There's a high percentage of Americans that don't have health insurance, even as an entrepreneur, because sometimes you can't afford it. So a lot of people just rely on, I hope I don't get sick, or you just have a lot of medical bills piled up. And so the first thing would be being able to cut your cost and be able to get major procedures at a fraction of the price. I'm talking about we've saved our clients from 60 to 75%.
Yeah.
You know, the rate that they would be quoted in America. Our client who got the open fibroid surgery was quoted $30,000 just for the surgery with no insurance. We were able to get her the surgery. That was laparoscopic. We got her the open fibroid surgery here. 3 day stay in the executive suite, anesthesiologist and the medicine, from $30,000 to $3,700. So at the best, one of the best hospitals in Central and East Africa. Um, so cost effectiveness, time management. You can be on a waiting list for a knee surgery for 3 years. And then by the time you get to the surgery, they have put you on opioids, so narcotics. And I've seen personally where we've had a family member who was a recovering addict for 20 years, was on a waiting list for 3 years for a knee surgery and relapsed after 20 years and almost died because they put it on opioid pills. A recovering addict. Why would you do that? So preventative health is another thing that the United States does not do, and we know that. Quality of healthcare, bedside manner, um, you know, all of the things you get at a better experience here in these developing countries like Kenya, Colombia, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, India, Turkey. And for me, when I went to the hospital in 2019, I had sprained my knee and my ankle on a Segway with some clients up at Safari Fairmount in freaking Nanyuki. I'm going off and I just sprained my knee and my ankle. And my team at that time took me to MP Shaw, which is one of the top tier hospitals here too in Westlands. And I was in and out in 2 hours. They gave me pain medicine, my x-ray, and medicines for $70. And they handed me my x-ray in my hand when I left. And I said, oh my God, what are we doing? I got to start promoting medical tourism here. Then I also want to add really quick, when I was going through the bad business breakup, I had developed, paralyzing anxiety. And I had an anxiety attack that had me stuck in my hotel room with 50 plus African Americans in country for a group trip.
Oh
And my
man.
team had to take over. And they took me to MP Shaw again. And there was a mental health specialist on call at 8 o'clock at night who calmed me down, was able to give me medicine, and I was able to go back to working within the day or two. And so even mental health, I've used the mental health system here, where I haven't really used it in the States. And after using the mental health facility here, or yes, I went back home and went to the VA and was like, I need to speak to a mental health specialist. And so just the quality was better, the cost and time.
Yeah, I want to point out to people what I've, and you know, you're the expert, but my perception of the medical system in Kenya, at least as far as us, I mean, you can just get things done because you just pay for it, but you pay a reasonable price, right? So I dread going to the doctor because of the administrative nonsense you have to go
Yeah.
because I have the VA, right? So like I got to go all the way to West Philly. You got to call 8 different people like to get anything done. I'd rather just pay for the prescription, and I've seen that done. Like you give the doctor your symptoms, like, even on WhatsApp, and boom, you can get whatever drugs you need or whatever. Like you just get sick, or if you get injured, I mean, you're not waiting in a waiting room for a million
Nope.
hours. I avoid our healthcare system like the plague because of that, and it's probably not good for my health. I feel like in Kenya, I would just utilize the services that are available because I could just afford and pay for them. And
Yep.
I'm sure Kenyans that may be watching are like, maybe it the
It's
excessive.
not affordable for them.
You're right. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
want to be understanding to that, but also for our audience, it is accessible. You get like you're
But
saying, $30,000 to 3,500 is life changing. I mean, and I want to commend you. I mean, those connections can change people's lives and improve their life and health. So I really want to commend you for that.
thank you. And everyone involved. So medical tourism still impacts the local community and the economy at large. And then with the proceeds, essentially, we want to start offering medical um, tourism or medical procedures to more remote villages
Mm.
and communities who don't have access to this quality. And we want them to have it at the top tier hospitals. And so we also can pull out that CSR piece of what we do
Ah,
in the medical tourism industry as well. But essentially, it creates job and impacts the healthcare industry at large, um, and it allows the private sector to be able to employ more doctors, as well as educate more doctors and nurses and things of that nature. So it's essentially it's a trickle effect if we were to impact the medical tourism industry by billions, and that's the goal because and it's also a part of Kenya's 2030 agenda. So a lot of what we do, we also align with Kenya's 2030 agenda. We just don't do stuff just to do it. We
right.
align it with the country's agenda, to make it one of the leading developing countries in East Africa.
And I want to point out that some of the second factor effects, I mean, literally, you're bringing money from the US to the Kenyan medical system, right? So there's a net benefit to everybody as long as that money is distributed well, is bringing, again, adding value, which we've been talking about. We have a good question here from a member. Hey, Ryan, could you please ask her about sports medicines, especially injuries from weight training? Thanks.
I
Because
have been.
that sports medicine thing is a thing. Like sometimes I'll have like my knee hurts, but I'm not going to the doctor because again, the nonsense that you got to deal with is crazy. If you're in Kenya, I would assume maybe we can go get it checked out and get
Oh,
proactive
yeah.
services.
Yeah. We offer. So I'll talk about the Nairobi Hospital, one of the hospitals that we are in partnership, which was a historical partnership, never been done. And in fact, they created a medical tourism actual board because of us. They don't want to give us full credit, but they gave us semi credit on that.
Oh,
But
that's amazing.
yeah, and at Nairobi, they have at least 700 specialists. At the hospital itself, you have the oh my god, we just did a video, the Anderson Clinic, where you can go see an orthopedic specialist right then and right there, and have them do the X-ray, everything, only for 4K. So we talk about $30 to go see a specialist right then and there without any insurance. Be diagnosed and also be given a prescription if something is wrong. They also offer wellness packages. Dinus Demir came here and did his wellness treatment here with us, and he did it for $350, and he got everything from head to toe checked. Just like you can go to Turkey and Turkey charge you 1,000. He was able to come here and get it for $350.
Yeah, I think that's really big. I mean, it's crazy that you'd have to leave the whole country to go somewhere, just get reasonable, like common sense things like the health assessment. I saw that. Um, Dinus came and yeah, like I need a health assessment. You know what I mean? I don't even
Yeah.
know how to do that, and I don't even think they would give like they don't even have these systems set up here, and or you got to pay, you
Right.
got to have some
You got to pay
private
it. Right.
crazy here in the U.S. That's amazing. Yeah, I gotta. So, how would someone? Okay, I'm someone that wants to investigate that type of service with your company. How, like, what does that look like? How do I interact
Yeah.
with you
So
to execute on that?
absolutely. So you will do a consultation, of course, and then we'll go over all of your needs and what you would need for us to execute for you. And so we handle everything from the beginning, from A to Z, like our Kenyan cousins say. Um, and so we would look at your medical records. Of course, we do have all of the forms, waivers, released forms, and get your medical records from whichever specialist you're dealing with in the U.S. And we'll connect it with the specialist here. They'll have a look at it. They'll be able to give us a diagnosis of whatever it is that you're looking for. If you're looking for a second opinion, if you're looking to do a procedure, if you're looking to do dental work, whatever, then they'll be able to come back and give me a quote based off of our agreement with them. We'll put together a full comprehensive package which includes your flight, a companion, um, a concierge specialist with you for 5 to 8 hours a day, your pre-op appointments, your post-op appointment, your housing, your transportation,
Mm,
um, and then your telehealth checkup from 30 to 60 days after leaving the country. So it's a full comprehensive package that we put together. Anything that's extra that's also um, explained in the contract, like if they find an underlying issue and then they need to fix it at an extra cost, you would be aware of it. There's no hidden cost. Everything is upfront. And we advocate for you. Advocacy, that's a huge thing
mm.
that a lot of people don't consider when you're dealing with health and your health, having someone to speak for you and with you and walk with you the entire journey. If something happened, you don't have to deal with it. My team deal with it hands in, just like we just did a VIP tour of the oncology cancer center in at Nairobi with a local Kenyan who reached out and saw the work that we were doing, and they were having issues with another facility, um, and they wanted to see if we could switch them over, but to advocate for them. So when we sat down with the doctors, the oncology, the radiology doctor, and we did the VIP tour, I was there with the family to advocate for them, to speak on behalf of them, to make sure that they got to see everything they wanted to see, all the questions asked, and then be able to possibly put together something for them so that we can continue the journey with them.
That is a big thing because when you're dealing with your medical stuff, you're kind of in a vulnerable spot. So having like a team supporting and advocating is really important. It's funny, I didn't think about that, but that is really beneficial. And pretty much anybody working with you guys, they get like a concierge person that's pretty much when they come in the country, they got somebody that's got their back the whole time.
The whole time. It makes a difference. We did a second opinion for, I believe, a hysterectomy. And the video is on our YouTube page. And that video, that testimony was so powerful. I looked at it 3 times. And I'm in the same room as her as she's talking to us. And I didn't know how important it is. I get it, but when you experience it with the client, how important it is to advocate for the client, but then to be there when the client gets not so good news and
Mm,
walk out that room. And my team is there with flowers and they know she liked ice cream. So they took her to an ice cream shop. And then they went back to the housing that we had her in and they did karaoke. And so by the time I got there, her spirits was up. And then she was able to express, like, I've been dealing with this by myself for 20 years. To be able to come here and have you and your team to walk with me, it's life changing.
yeah, because a lot of people lack options because if your insurance or lack of insurance doesn't cover it, most people just say, well, that's what I got to do now. Reach out because they might have an option that because you're going to be able to quote them everything, so they'll know what they're
Yeah,
looking at to
yeah,
come. So I mean, at least see. what your other options are. I mean, that's an incredible thing
Yeah,
that you've done, making relationships with the hospital. I've seen your videos. You're out there connecting with the hospitals, figuring out pricing, making sure that I mean, that is really incredible when I saw that. Now,
yeah.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, you do like cosmetic stuff, like people getting BBLs out
Yeah,
there? So what's going on? Because
yeah,
get your hairline done. Like, what's up?
yeah, yeah. We do cosmetic. We haven't gotten to the BBL situation yet, but we do offer
You
it.
don't need them.
Um, yeah, we do offer it. I think we got a woman in January coming for a breast reduction and breast lift. Augmentation. And then we do the hair loss treatment. We do dental work. We do IVF. That's actually going to be our flagship product, the top of the year, IVF. We are possibly partnering with somebody for surrogacy. We're not going to be doing it internally, just not ready for that liability. But IVF. And then we're also going to be offering alternative birth plans where you could come here to have your baby as
Wow.
opposed to have it in the US, Canada, or the UK, where Black women have the highest fatality rates through maternity than our white counterparts. So those are two of the flagship products that we will be pushing for the first quarter of next year.
Man, that is amazing just hearing that. I know IVF is a really big issue and it is a really big thing for people. That'd be amazing to be able to provide an avenue to get that, because in the US, I know that's like a rich person's activity. Unless you have a ton of
Yeah,
money, it's
yeah.
hard to get access to.
And
Mm.
people are suffering. I mean, they're putting up their houses, all type of stuff, and it's $20,000. It starts at $20,000 to $25,000 for one treatment that does not include the medication, where we
And
can get it for you between and in our work where we can get it between 3 to 6,000. That's on the high side, and that's include the medication, and that includes the embryo, and a lot of stuff. So you could definitely get it. We also offer weight loss treatment. As you saw, I did the weight loss procedure here with
oh,
our partner
what
Celsion.
is that, the gastric bypass that they're doing, or
I did
what?
the adjustable balloon. I did the adjustable balloon where they go through your esophagus. It's on our page. You can see me in the operating room and
Oh,
everything. They go through your esophagus. They put the balloon and inflate it, and it accesses the gastro bypass without doing the surgery. And I lost about 25 pounds in 2 months.
yeah.
And now I'm doing the shots. Now, don't come for me, y'all. I
But
know
those,
I can go to the gym.
I,
Uh-huh.
so I just started taking it. It's incredible, and that was my next question.
Yeah,
They
I'm doing the
got
shots now.
semaglutide, trizepatide. You can get that over there.
Yeah, with our partnership with
Oh,
Halcyon, yeah.
I was looking,
I'm gonna
and
post the video. We post a video today or tomorrow, when I started the shots.
guys, I got to tell you, for the audience, that John is a life changer because it turns your appetite down. I know that doesn't actually make you lose weight. It just turns your appetite down. But if you're dieting, then you're not miserable and hangry.
Yep.
Oh, I'm a
Yeah,
big.
yeah. So you can get that here.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk because I
We
need
got
that.
everything. 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 We
Okay.
got you covered.
Hey, all right. The VA stuff you just posted recently, I think, or at least I just saw it recently. If you have, the VA is very complicated. So could you
Yeah.
explain for our veterans? Because I'm on,
Yeah.
I'm not on TRICARE, but I have access to the VA. So like, how's all that work?
Yeah.
Because I think you get reimbursed.
Yeah. If you do have TRICARE though, you have to be retired. You don't have to be if you have, but most retirees would have TRICARE Select.
Okay.
TRICARE Select overseas. If you have TRICARE Select overseas, you can you can be reimbursed for your healthcare um, procedures or whatever services you get here through TRICARE Select, and then you can also get healthcare insurance and also be reimbursed, as we are in partnership with CIC Group and two other um, local health insurance. Now, for those of us, I don't have TRICARE Select. Um,
Either.
um, so unfortunately, I can't even take a part of those benefits myself. But I do have local health insurance. The first time in my life, and I paid $700 for the entire year.
And how does that work? What does it cover?
So you have a percentage of outpatient, like 600K of outpatient. And then I have about 3.5 million for inpatient. I got dentist, I got dental, I got dental, and it's a whole list of stuff. But you get a lot for the $700. Forget about it.
Do you need residency to have insurance?
You would have to have a KRA pin. And so that's why our partnership is important, because we were able to kind of circumvent that without.
I try to explain that to people. I'm like, don't feel weird when things need to be circumvented, because that's just how it works.
Yeah. And it's above board. But that's why the partnership is important.
Yeah. You got to find the right avenues to do it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What do you think? What's been your most fulfilling experience with your business so far?
Oh man, there's so many elements. I think now I'm super excited about medical tourism. That's my baby. That's my vertical that I plan to build and have people be able to tap into. But I'm excited about that, because you just changed so many lives. So many lives, not the people just coming in, but everybody involved. And I literally will probably be the last one to benefit from it all. But just seeing the instant gratification of your clients and the local Kenyans being proud to be able to service people, and being proud to be able to pioneer in something like that. There's no other African countries really doing, even South Africa, right? They're not promoting it outside of that region, or although South Africa has the best medical health care in Africa. And then Kenya is number 2. That's fulfilling. But to have a family that came here for our investigative tour in June, the wife did, and we were able to service them through the investigative tour. And they made the decision to go ahead and relocate, which they landed yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And the husband and the 2 children came along. He had never been there. They'd never been there. The wife came and did the investigative tour first. We did such a good job. She was able to do a report, and he see it from afar that indeed they can trust this company to relocate the whole family with 2 small children. And when he hugged me yesterday, he said, "You don't know what you did. You need to know what you have is a gym. And your team is so superb. They were so thorough. They were so on point. I got to hug your neck." And he's quiet. He's ex-military. And that day he did another testimony for me. We sat down with them today to sign their paperwork for the land we helped them purchase in Malindi. And we also helped them build. You guys will see that property tomorrow. And as they're signing, he's talking some more. And he's like, "You're so thorough with your legal team, with your team on the ground in Malindi and Mombasa, with your concierge service here. The fact that we're sitting here signing our paperwork for 2 plots that you all did before we got here, and we're about to build our retirement home, 3,400 square feet, 2-story with 2 pools by the ocean in Malindi is priceless." So I had to thank them for trusting us. They're retirees. That's serious. That's somebody's life. And they love that we did not make it an emotional thing, but it is business, and we're providing a service. We're going to make you feel like family. We're definitely going to make you feel like family, but we're providing a service. We're not, just doing this for fun, right? That makes me happy. And then lastly, I love group travel. So seeing large groups of people come in and get to see the country from a leisure position, which we'll be getting back into that the top of the year. And I'll give you this other exclusive. We are partnering with Khalees. And we'll be doing a huge announcement with her and I becoming business partners with Traverse
Oh,
Culture. And so, yeah, we're super excited about that, to have her on board and to see what we're doing as a company. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing. Wow, you're doing. I I want to commend you for. I mean, you're really changing people's lives. Like sometimes when people are doing a business or a service, you haven't, but people can lose track of like the good work that they're doing. I mean, you're changing generations of lives, or a family, even one family. That's a really big deal. And I know you've done more than that. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
even one family that you facilitate and assist is a really big deal that could change the trajectory of people's lives. Even throughout this conversation, there were moments in your life that things could have gone a different way. And so you're being that for many people, and I just want to commend you for um, just the good work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited. We've gotten to really relocate some really cool people, help people travel. We've brought over 300 African Americans here
Wow.
through travel, because again, we started with group travel, so we would bring in large groups, and we'll be getting, like I said, we'll be getting back into that next year. But another crazy moment was we relocated the niece of the now president of Malawi to Kenya. And we had no idea who we was talking to. We had no idea who we was talking to. And you guys will see her testimony, because we did medical tourism for her recently. And then she'll do her 6-month testimony for relocation. She's been here for 6 months now. But she's the daughter of the former president of Malawi and the niece of the now president of Malawi. And when we were relocating or doing all of the upfront work that we do, is we offer a 120-day relocation integration program. So we don't just pick you up and drop you off.
Right.
We have a 60-day, and then you can upgrade to an additional 60 days if you need, a bit more hands in. And she was like, well, before I get on the ground, let me just tell y'all who I am. And we all on the phone like, what? So we started Googling. We was like, oh, we didn't know, who we're relocating. And it's moments like that that remind me, even when I get down,
Mm,
I'm still in the trenches. I'm still a small business. So I'm
right.
still, still trying to get up out of, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I have days like that still. And it's moments like that okay, you doing this is big at this point. This is big into you. You know what I mean? Like, it's business, but it's big into you. So you don't really have a choice. You got to finish this. And
Yeah,
so that's how I look at it.
I love that. It's always nice for a business when you have somebody come organically, and they find you and they're a notable person or something. It's a testament to how your business is working, right? They come and
That was
find.
crazy, crazy.
So I want to talk about two more things. I know I'm keeping you late. The journey back to Eden, we definitely got to get to, and my other thing um, was, oh man, I'm losing. Let's talk about journey back to Eden, because I'll remember my other point in a second.
Okay.
Tell people what that's about, and what's being offered, and kind of your philosophy behind it.
Yeah. So the journey back to Eden is my play on the year return for Kenya. Period. I did see some gaps in it, and one of the things was the intentional movement of relationship building between the locals and ourselves. I think that got lost, and it became a money grab. No shade shout out to Ghana, because either way they did it right. And they've led the way with that, and no other African country has been able to do it yet. So I wanted to see, and we are, if we could do that here in Kenya. Kenya has the infrastructure, it has the welcoming spirit. We just need to educate each other and who we are. And so the journey back to Eden is a call to action for all Africans of the diaspora and lovers of Africa, to look to Kenya as a second point of entry for investment opportunities, relocation opportunities, medical tourism, and business development. all through relationship building and one initiative. It's built into a 7 day and a 12 day itinerary. So we ain't just gonna be talking at you at this conference and you don't get to see the country and what we're talking about in real time. I'm a very hands-in person, but I'm also the comprehensive queen. So I don't like people piecing things together. That's that military background. And I also feel responsible for people. So I don't hold things to liability. So it's a 7 day and a 12 day itinerary with a conference and a cultural expo and New Year celebration built into this initiative, the Journey Back to Eden, this December the 28th through January the 9th, or December the 28th through January the 4th.
So what are some of the things on the itinerary? What's the conversations going to be looking like? I know you have some really big guest speakers. What's
Yeah.
all that like?
Yeah, so we'll be talking about business opportunities here in Kenya from some of the local entrepreneurs here in Kenya, some high level corporations, as well as the medical industry. We'll have some of the head doctors and CEOs of some of the facilities that we are in partnership with. Of course, we have PLO, the Honorable PLO Lumumba, as one of our ambassadors. We were going to have, I will say this here, we were going to have Dr. Umar, but unfortunately he will not be able to make it. But maybe another time, right? But shout out to him, no shade to Dr. Umar. We'll have conversations with the Gen Z community to talk about what we can do to assist that generation and add value to whatever it is that they need here on the ground. So we'll have the student body from the University of Nairobi there, speaking for themselves. And then the expo is something that I wanted to do in terms of that relationship building. It won't be as big as I thought it was going to be this year. I got to keep it a buck with y'all. I'm doing this on my own. I ain't got no big corporations behind me and all of the things. And so we're hoping.
You're doing this privately, or do you have some government backup, or what's going on?
Privately.
Okay.
Privately. Yeah. Until we build the momentum. And so we wanted to have representation of the African diaspora at large. Like I'm Gullah Geechee, so having somebody from the Gullah Geechee culture sit in their basket weaving. We're known for basket weaving, similar to the Meru tribe here in Kenya. We could have the Caribbean community there, Africans from around the globe. And we're gonna have representation of even the Asian community, the Korean, Japanese, because I believe they're part of our spectrum as well. Hispanic community as well. And so just really relationship building and getting to know each other instead of just having these internet wars that's rooted in ignorance, because we haven't been able to experience each other. We just read, or we take these clickbaits and make up all kind of stories, and we haven't really experienced each other. So imagine if we were just able to experience each other culturally, and then we could start having some of the serious conversations that are needed, but it needs to be phased out over time. We can't just jump into something you don't have no clue what you're talking about, right? But those conversations are needed because there is underlying tension. There's underlying misinformation. There is stereotypes and all of the myths and all of the things. So they're valid. We just not ready to have them. Let's experience each other first.
I feel like that stuff is very online. I don't experience it in person very much. Obviously there's cultural connection that needs to happen, but I try to disregard that stuff. Because is it real, or are y'all bored on the internet and everyone's just fighting about saying dumb things to each other?
I think it's both. We don't probably see it in real time because Kenyans ain't checking for us no way. Like, right. I gotta work. I got stuff to do. Y'all talk about something that has nothing to do with me, right? But when the influx does happen, it will be a conversation. As welcoming as Kenya is, there will be a pocket of Kenyans that may say, we don't want y'all here. Why are you coming here? You're taking all the jobs. People are starting to say it, kidogo. And we need to address it head on. And I think relationship building need to be the key first.
And we need the right people speaking versus bad representation, because some of that stuff was happening. It's like,
we got some jigaboos.
Uh, but okay. So are people moving in the group? Like, if you're on the tour, are you moving with a group of people? You're going to meet new people while you're there on a similar
Yep.
journey. That's a cool thing when you're traveling. You meet people that you may not have spoken to, but you have something obviously in common because you're both interested in coming out there. And there's a deeper meaning for us coming to the continent, and maybe share information and all that. So what's the logistics looking like?
Yeah, it's group travel. One of my favorite things to do, because you get those perspectives, like you said. You're in a group kind of environment, and you get to meet with like-minded people and share the experience with them, and then it becomes a family. Like all of our WhatsApp groups, group tours, group WhatsApp groups, when we bring people here, they all family. Everybody's still talking to each other. Everybody's sharing information. People have moved over here outside of our group travel. So it's more of a conversion type of funnel as well. So it gives you opportunity to do the investigative tour with a group of people, look at investments, look at possibility of relocating, even look at the medical, because we're also going to do a VIP healthcare tour as well for those who are interested in doing that. So it gives you everything you need in one package, along with other people that's interested in the same thing.
Yeah, it's funny in my space. The investment, especially working with others, could go so long of a way because your money does go further, and you can have a huge impact. You get a couple people together that's like-minded to do some kind of investments or development. I mean, that could be the spark of some really big things. So I think it's pretty interesting. The group thing is pretty interesting because you're going to be with people that are in the same mindset of you. So that's another value that I
Yep.
see.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have anything else on Journey to Eden? It's coming up in a month and a half now.
Yeah, like 60 days, less than almost 60 days out. No, I just encourage, if you are interested in signing up, come and sign up now. You do have until November the 28th um, to sign up. And we want to see you there. And if you can't make it this year, it's a 3-year initiative. This is
Oh,
just the beginning. And we're building momentum. And so if you can't make it this year, you got until 2028 to join us.
yeah, because the first one will be able to give you content and like proof of concept to be able to market for the second and third time. So that's a
Correct.
good idea to have it
Correct.
do it that way. That's cool. Okay. Um, okay. So what's funny? This topic is why I even wanted to talk to you in the first place. Really, other than the medical, was, and I told you offline already. On my last trip, I was in Kenya for 3 months, and I was taking possession of my property. I was doing a lot of like quote unquote adulting type activities. I furnished my property, got a designer, I bought a vehicle, got the vehicle serviced,
Yeah, I saw that.
the air conditioner started working, like basically all the normal things that you would do if you had lived there. I was going through, and I guess the military and me being hard headed and want to do my own thing and kind of go through the experience. I was like, dang, this is a lot. And I don't think most people want to deal with all these issues and the frustrations. I mean, even though I'm frustrated, I'm still kind of having fun, me personally. But I think families trying to relocate, they don't got time for all that. And then there's a lot of people that say they'll help you and then separate you from your money, and you don't get what you were expecting to get. And you could spend a lot of money just being overcharged because you don't have the information.
Yep.
And I was like, this is very hazardous for someone and really could put someone off from coming when they could love to stay there. But uh, in the vulnerable relocation process that people may be trying to go through, or even just visiting, even long term and trying to experience certain things, could be off putting, could be expensive, could be very, very challenging or frustrating at the least. Um, I see the value in having someone like you who already has the team, has the people, has the expertise, has the knowledge, I remember seeing in one of Austin's videos, he was telling you how much he spent on his apartment. You're like, man, we could have done this for the same thing for less. And to be honest, I've been skeptical of some of these middleman services that liaison and get, because a lot of people are offering a lot of things. But the reality is, you go do it on your own, you're going to pay anyway, because you get overcharged one time, you get scammed one time. Your paperwork ain't right if you're trying to do immigration. Lord have mercy dealing with the attorneys. I've spoken to probably a dozen attorneys, 12 different answers to different things, and then people report back to me how much they're paying for things that I know you could get, especially legal services, much cheaper. They're not even getting good advice. And I say that all to say, you probably save money, time, frustration working with a reputable company like yourself for a lot of these services. And so
Yeah.
I think I made a case for your business, but maybe you can even make it a little bit clearer for people, especially those that haven't been. I'm telling you guys, you think you're going to come and figure things out. It's probably worth the money to hire somebody to help
Mhm.
you
It's definitely worth the money. As you said it, what people don't understand, most black people don't understand concierge, first off. Um, and so it's not like we're just a travel company or we're just,
out. Right.
giving you information. We're hands in concierge, so everything is tailored and catered to your need. We're flexible to your budget as much as we can, right? To make sure. Now, one thing that we do, we have qualifiers. I will not relocate you if you cannot sustain yourself. That's number one.
That's
I will
important.
not relocate you if you do not qualify for immigration. Period. That's it. You can relocate yourself and figure that out on your own, but we will not relocate you. And we do not sell you dreams, and will not make you make an emotional decision versus an educated decision. This is why we offer investigative tours. So if you're somebody who call us and you've never been to the continent, you've never been out of the US, I will try not to relocate you, but you are our client. If you want us to relocate you, we'll relocate you. But I suggest professionally to do an investigative tour for these 12 to 15 days, up to 60 days. If you have time like that, we've had clients come and do 60 days with us, 30 days with us. Um, and then they were able to make an educated decision on what it really would look like to live here. So we put you in an apartment. We don't put you in a hotel when you do your investigative tour. We go through all of the things that you would typically do through relocation during the investigative tour. So then when we relocate, we're just now executing everything like we're doing with the family that arrived today. Then we have another family coming on the 15th who didn't do the relocation, the investigative tour, but they're going to be doing 60 days with us when we relocate them here to Nairobi. And then we have a family of 9 coming who's doing the investigative tour all together. And then we'll relocate them in February. So that's one thing. And then here's another thing. Immigration is eating y'all up left and right, eating you up
Yeah.
alive. And stop it. Because whoever's telling you what, they're messing you up. And if you think you could live here on a 5-year tourist visa, you're wrong. And they are watching, immigration is watching closely. I actually work closely with immigration. I became the first American company to be on the migration committee that works with immigration. Um, and so when I talk about immigration, I'm not talking from the side of my neck. And we have a whole legal team. There's only 2 companies in Kenya that are part of the diaspora that offer integration, relocation the way that we do, and that's my company and the Diaspora Freedom Initiative, John, Donna, and Diani. Only 2.
Yeah, you
Only
have a
2.
lawyer on your team that is with the company. I saw.
Yes, that's with the company. Yeah. And so that's one. Immigration, you ain't gonna be able to do it by yourself. I mean, and if you do, you're gonna go around in circles, okay? And you're gonna get overcharged. Remember I told you on the beginning. Remember at the beginning of the conversation, I got screwed over in the beginning, right? And I learned the hard way, and that's why I created this company so you do not have to go through that, right? So then, what else do we see? This misconception that you could come over here and live off of $500 a month is crazy. Nairobi is one of the most expensive African cities in Africa. It's the sixth fastest growing city in the whole continent. They have one of the strongest GDPs and currencies. And real estate here is insane. It's insane. The cost of living is going up every second. Every second. I can quote you today, and next week it's completely different, right? One, you have a lot of foreign national investment in the real estate market, billion-dollar deals with some of the multinational communities that are moving here and living here. Of course, we know the Chinese is here. And then you have the UN headquarters that is moving here from New York. And so that's hiking prices up. And then, we're still out of the pandemic. So inflation is real, and it's a developing country. So you're going to see that. It's a legit developing country. So this notion that you don't have to have capital to relocate is crazy. The fact that you think you can come to an investigative tour for $1,500 is wild. What else I'm seeing? You think you could come and live here off of SSI disability? You can't.
Really?
No, the SSI disability, you can't. You can live on SSI.
Oh, I see.
And then it depends on how much you get, right? Because if you want to be in Nairobi, baby, and you want real nice living, you're gonna need at least $1,000 a month, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the minimum. And
what do you think someone needs to stay in Nairobi on average?
Comfortably, as a single person. Let's talk about capital first, because relocation is an investment.
True.
Relocation is an investment, and it's a luxury. It's nothing that you do to be in survival mode. It's a luxury, and I'm gonna tell you why it's a luxury. Then I'll go back to capital. Why? It's an upgrade to your peace, upgrade to the quality of life, upgrade to education if you have kids, upgrade with medical health care, upgrade. I mean, should I go on? And it's also connecting to your roots. And so that's a luxury, and it's an investment. You're changing the generation behind you by relocating. And so you have to have capital. So I would say for a single person who was looking to do vehicle, house, furniture, you want a nice, I ain't coming over here to struggle. I'm 43 years old. I didn't come over here to struggle. That don't make sense.
That's how I feel.
You know what I mean? I sold everything in the States. I'm not going down. I'm not downgrading. This is an upgrade. So I would say somebody who's single like myself, I spent about $30,000, and I do this for a living. I do this for a living. And I spend about, I would say, well, I'm a single person. Let's see. To be fair, I probably spent about $2,000. 2,100, maybe 2,100, and that's because I got a vehicle. So that's on the high side.
To be comfortable, 2,000 to 3,000. You think, right?
So you would need. I would say 3 if you one of the people like me who like to do bougie things, but I'm not bougie.
Right.
And you want to go out and have a good time. You want to travel while you're here. Traveling within the continent is expensive as hell. So you want to have money, for that. So I would say for a single person, a single woman, 25 to 3,000. And then a single man who want to date now, you want to have at least 3,500. I'd say 3,000 to 3,500 if you're dating. The family.
That's how you move.
I would say, because these women about their money, they is not playing. That's another conversation. But I'm just joking. I'm joking. And then a family, like a family of 4 that we just had, they're going to the coast, so they won't spend as much, and they're building a home. They've purchased the land. The kids, we're rolling the kids in school in January. So I believe they may be spending around 35 to 4, maybe 4,000. 4,000 a month.
That's not bad for a family, but that's the coast. That's different.
That's the coast. Here, you're probably gonna need about 5.
Uh,
Five, five to 5,500,
I want
depending on how many kids.
right. I want to ask about school, but first, someone asked a question earlier. They said you chose to rent versus buy.
Yeah.
Well, not to get in your pockets, but I would, that's somebody asking. I was
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, yeah. I chose to, for me, my legacy is my business. I don't
Mm,
care about purchasing another home. I own the home in the States and property and I don't care about that at this point. At this juncture, buying a house ain't, who cares for me?
I see.
And I don't want the responsibility. Something
Uh,
break in here, they fix it. I spilled red wine in here the night I had all them people here, and they came and painted for free. I had a
they
leakage, they
spilled it
came
on
and
the
paid. They
ceiling.
came
You're
and fixed it.
pointing up.
Huh?
They spilled the wine on the ceiling. You're pointing
It
up.
was it was one black American opening up the thing, and they it all over here. Oh, my
They
nice
was
white.
smiling.
And they came and painted for free. I had a leakage here that was for free. I don't want the responsibility. I'm cool on that. My business is my legacy.
Yeah, I was just curious because one of my things, especially now, I purchased, but it's an apartment. You got the townhome, so they go for
Yeah.
more anyway. But I like not paying every month. You know what I mean? So I could kind of come back
Mhm.
and forth. But, I had assets I could sell from the U.S. and transfer some of the money, so it wasn't like a big change. And now it actually reduced my overall monthly expenses. So that's kind of was my approach because right, I get on a flight, I have all my stuff, boom,
Yeah.
I'm up there, But okay,
Yeah.
that's
I didn't want the responsibility.
right, right.
I just didn't want the responsibility. We got too much going on for me to think about purchasing or building right now. Essentially, I'll get to that, but it's not priority.
And that is a big thing. People sink their investment in the real estate versus their business, and like one can argue, especially in the U.S., why not just invest the money versus having a property and it's illiquid. So that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
So that's what I did. I invested in my business.
right. So I know all that sounds like a sales pitch to some people if you're a little skeptical, but I promise you guys, you will save money working with someone that already knows, unless you're very savvy and have a lot of travel experience. Um, it, you'll save money spending the money. I know that sounds
You
crazy, but
will. Trust me,
and
you will. You would
I
save.
don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not getting paid for any of these, anything I'm saying. I'm telling you guys because the other thing I like that you said was this is a business and we're not romantic about it. And many people are very idealistic, and it's my biggest fear for a lot of people is like, yes, your heart's in it, but it's gotta make sense. And so what you're saying, hey, I
Yeah.
won't I'll try not to relocate people till they really know what they're getting into is really big to me and shows a lot of integrity. Because hey, you can take people's money and then now
Yeah.
and, and we've seen the stories online where they come and then they got to go back. So
See, it becomes a liability for you. See, people don't understand that. It still becomes your problem. So why even put yourself or somebody's life in that position? Yeah, that's wrong.
absolutely. Me and my wife will do an investigative tour. We're thinking 3,500 a month for us to live comfortably once we relocate. Is that realistic? I think, yeah.
Yeah, maybe depending on if y'all retired here, depending on what. Yes, 3,500 is good. Yeah,
And that's the
'cause-
funny thing with the money conversations because it's like, what are you doing? That's really what matters, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. Depending on how you want to live, depending on what you want to do. If you want to still be able to travel, and things of that nature. 3,500 could be good. Yeah, for two people because you're staying in the same house. You probably ain't gonna buy no vehicle. And if you move around, you use Uber. And if you don't have like a job or anything like that, you're not gonna be doing too much.
right.
And even if you go out, the social atmosphere here is affordable. Depending on again what you want to do. So yeah, I think 35 would be good. You just have to have that capital. That's the part that a lot of people get misconstrued too. You have to have the capital to invest in your relocation.
Your startup. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about driving versus Uber and ride
Oh
shares?
God.
I know.
Listen,
I
man.
know.
Listen.
I wanted to
I've
ask.
been
I know you've been. I was like,
Jesus.
I bought a car. I was thinking about it. Um, and I spent a good amount because I got the truck, the four by
Yeah, I
four,
saw that thing expensive as hell.
quite a bit expensive. And I was like, man, is this a good use of my money? But I want to be able to go out to the country. I want to get like a ranch house out further out from Nairobi. And, even when I was in Tagoni, I'm like, am I going to get an Uber back? Like, I don't like being
Yeah.
reliant on others for transportation. So that was kind of my rationale. And then I just wanted something that was durable, 4x4. But I was like, I spent a lot of money. I could have invested it a different way. What's your idea about the? And then driving is not very peaceful here or in Kenya. So
Oh my God, forget it. Forget about it. I've been coming here for 14 years, right?
uh
I just started driving maybe 3 years ago. It took me over 10 years to drive. So for me, I don't like rely. We're ex-military, so I don't like relying on nobody. I want to get up and go when I'm going. My car in the shop now. This is the third freaking accident. My car got hit in the parking lot. In the
uh,
parking lot. And then yesterday, I get in another car accident and a freaking truck hit me and kept going, kept scraping the side of the car. So I'm livid because I'm on the way to the dang on airport to pick up our clients to meet my team there. And the police say it's my fault. And so I jump out the car and I'm livid. I'm like furious. I'm boiling. Like, oh my God. And I thought I was furious. I was furious. But then once I was able to calm down, one of the pros is I went and took my car to my mechanic and it's getting fixed for like less than $150. So, and I had serious damage to
labor
my car this
is
time.
cheap. So like, because I got my brakes done, I got a service, and I was like, oh, because I was expecting to pay a whole bunch of money. It wasn't a big deal. So
Mm-mm. It's very affordable. And then we have vetted mechanics and vendors that we use so that even if you buy a car through us, you can use our vetted vendors
I need that.
to do that. Yeah,
I paid a guy to boost the AC, and then 3 days later, it it stopped working again.
that'll happen to you. It'll happen to you easy. Trust me. And
And I
so
was
the pro
watching. I
is
was like, I don't think this is gonna work.
yeah. No, we got you. But the pro is that you can get it done immediately. I literally took it to the mechanic yesterday
Hmm.
and jumped in an Uber and came back home, and I think it'll be fixed by Wednesday. So you know,
What did the police do? So I don't. I've been
oh,
worried
walked
about
away,
that.
walked
Oh,
away. He walked
they didn't
away.
try to
He
get
said
to.
it was my fault, and then he told the dude in the truck he could go because he heard my accent. It's he knew I was
Yeah.
American at that point, and then I have a nice little vehicle, so they're like, "Oh, she got money, whatever." And I do have insurance, but I'm like, don't want to wait for the insurance to
Right.
go through all of that stuff. So I was just like, forget it, I'll just pay it.
He didn't
But
threaten to take you to
typically,
jail.
you do the police report and you send it to your insurance, and then your insurance should be able to reimburse you to get the vehicle fixed.
He didn't threaten to take you to jail or something crazy.
He did, but I told him F off. I cursed him out. I cursed him and the truck driver off. I lost my shit.
Do
I
you
did.
think if you knew Swahili fluently, this is one of my I've been working on is like, would they interact with you differently? They might
A
still
little
be
bit,
a foreigner, but I think I suspect.
a little bit. They could still, they'll be, unless you learn it fluently and you have the accent down, they'll
Yeah,
still know that you are part of the diaspora or think you a Kenyan from the, because
mhm,
Kenyans of the diaspora get the same situation. You
right.
know what I mean? Or anybody, like really, if you don't know what you're doing. So not really. I mean, it's just, you just have to learn the culture. And, there's pros and cons with living here. I do believe that the pros outdo the cons, but the cons do come with some shiggity. So
Yeah.
that's one of them. Driving here is absolutely, and it's the dumbest. This is for real. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire 43 years on planet Earth. And it's the worst I've ever seen in any country in the world. It's ridiculous.
It's so funny because for a place where everyone's relaxed, once they start driving, it's like, what the heck is going on? And then
Tasmanian devils.
it is, I'm sorry, Kenyans. This is my general criticism is like, I don't know what's up with the culture, but people just they don't take driving very seriously with the risks. Like, have you been on some of the, like,
Yeah.
I went to
Yes.
Nakuru and like trucks are trying to overtake each other and clearly they're not fast enough to even do it. So now they're both just driving one way up the road on a highway into oncoming traffic. And I follow all the news on Instagram. I'm seeing Matatus, 40 people being killed. I'm like,
Fatal.
they are driving with no regard for anyone's life or their own.
Yep. It's defensive driving. Whoever's the minister of traffic or whatever, he need to be fired. There needs to be reform in the traffic and the driving. Honestly, it's serious. It's seriously something that the government need to consider for real.
Because it's like a public health thing. Like, people are losing their lives. Like, it's actually a serious issue. And another reason why, because I did one of them tour things, and the guy was driving not that crazy, but like something I think is a dangerous maneuver. They just doing with no. I'm
I
like,
almost died. I
uh,
literally almost died two weeks ago.
mm.
Like literally. Now I did that on my own because I drive crazy. But yeah, I was
Please
just like,
stop
well,
doing it. But if you don't
yeah.
do
Oh,
it,
I drive like a Kenyan. I drive like a Kenyan. I drive like a Kenyan for sure.
you won't get nowhere if you kind of aren't assertive when you're driving, for sure.
Yeah,
But my goodness, it is so dangerous.
it's the worst thing. It's one of the things I hate. Hate. Yeah. So, and I still choose to drive though. It's kind of weird, but yeah.
Well, I want the control in my hands versus a driver.
Me
Like,
too.
being around the city is okay, but if we start getting outside the city, I don't like it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
Oh shoot. Okay, last thing. Thank you for your time. It's 2.5 hours of your time. I mean, you gave us so much. You gave us some personal stories, and again, I want to commend you for all the good work that you're doing. Like, you're really making a difference in people's lives, and it's really important.
Thank you.
Last question, is schooling. Um, what's your perspective on the school system since you're bringing families? I know you can only do one thing at a time, so the medical side has definitely been an emphasis. But which can you tell us, your perspective on education? People bringing kids. I'll probably have kids at some point soon coming up. Probably in Kenya, and I'll be moving. So I'm curious. Like, what am I looking at, with the education system? What are the opportunities? I know there's different paths that you can go. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so when we relocate our clients, like the clients that's going to Malindi, and we're enrolling them into an international school, and so they have the CBC curriculum and they have the international curriculum. A lot of our, or we even have helped people put their kids in specific schools. If it's a monastery, it's a monastery or
Yeah,
Muslim,
sorry. Yeah,
that, or a Christian school, or they just really want the international. Most of our clients do international. We're also working on homeschooling and cooperative homeschooling as well. And we might be going in partnership with another international school to offer that. So that's already kind of a part of the relocation package. But then we're wanting to offer like a boarding school package for Kenyans who live abroad who want to send their kids back home to go to school. And we'll take care of everything from enrollment to getting the kid to school, the tuition, all of the things for them to go to school. And then we're doing an internship program, which we've already done, but now we're going to do it internationally where students from abroad can come work with Traverse Culture to get hours under their belt to internship with us here locally in Kenya.
interesting, interesting. Yeah, because my perspective on it, and something that I'm trying to educate myself on, is, I know they have the international school system, and then there's sort of a public and then a semi-private situation. Um, I wonder, like, I know boarding school is big. A lot of Kenyans have horrible, like, stories from boarding school, and I'm like, okay, so if I have kids in Kenya, international school seems to be like the top
Yeah,
tier level.
yeah,
Then I
yeah,
get worried that are you getting this westernized, the West is the best attitude, whitewashed type of history? So I'm like, where can they get the right level of education and connections, but also not get this Western point of view, even though you're in Kenya? And a lot of us are relocating to kind of get away from some of those ideologies to some degree. Could you speak to any of that? I mean,
Yeah, I
obviously,
think.
the curriculums are and all that. So,
Yeah, I think the homeschooling and cooperative homeschooling approach would be better for
mm,
someone who wants to kind of be flexible with the curriculum,
okay,
and then you could just have your kids into other social events,
okay,
sports and things like that, so they'll get the social aspect of being around other kids and possibly learning Swahili and things, all of the things there. But you can opt to do cooperative or homeschooling as well, which we do provide.
so your perspective on the international schools is that they are quite westernized. You're going to get that probably kind of like the
Yeah, yeah,
education that
yeah. You'll get, yeah.
we.
But I think it's a bit more worldly than what we have in the US though. I still think it's an added value.
Okay,
Because you're in the school with a lot of multinationals that we normally don't kind of integrate with. And this side of the world is much bigger, it's all type of people and all type of perspectives. And I think it would be that added value, even if there is a portion of it that's westernized. I think that the social part of it is important.
right,
And that's the upgrade that you'll get from having your child in the international school here.
okay, all right.
And it's much harder. The curriculum is much harder.
Yeah, because I've seen some very actually someone's posting some of them. Rift Valley Academy, Roslyn Academy, International School of
Yeah,
Kenya. I've heard of some of these, right? These are pretty
yeah.
prestigious schools.
We're partnering with Roslyn.
Ah, man,
Yeah,
you're in like what you're doing is just amazing. Like for all of us, like you're gonna need this information at some point. So again, as we're wrapping up, I just want to give you your flowers and appreciate. And we never talked before. This is the first time we're talking. So for the audience,
I
like.
think that's why it's almost 3 hours because we haven't.
And I mean, there's a million more things I could ask, but we'll chop it up another time at some point. But I want to thank you for giving your time. I know it's getting late over there, um, and just commend you again for everything that you're doing. I've learned a lot. I hope that we've exposed some level of the audience. Although, again, many people already, if they're following me, they're probably following you, right? So, but maybe we've opened it up to some more people, and
Yeah,
have learned a lot. So I just want to appreciate you for the time and the information, and thank you so much.
yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate all of the questions. Did we go through all the questions?
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty much everything that I had. I don't want to drag, like, 3 hours is a long time to be talking to somebody. So,
No, I was
well,
talking about
yeah.
the audience.
Oh, okay. If there's any questions in the audience that you guys have or haven't been asked, please ask them now.
Oh,
Someone
their
said,
comments. Okay, I see.
I think Ryan may have some baby news for us. No, I don't have no baby news, but
Yeah,
y'all see where my mind is at, though.
really good.
Okay.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We're good. I guess they were satisfied with the questions I was asking because not a lot of questions came in. Usually, I'm reading all the comments, but guys, I can't get to all the comments, and I wanted to keep some structure to this. So, um,
Mhm.
I appreciate it. But yeah, I appreciate you giving the time. If there's anything else you want to tell people or anything, now is the time.
Yeah, so if you're interested in traveling to Kenya, if you want to do an we do group travel. We'll be relaunching at the top of the year. If you're interested in doing an investigative tour to see if Kenya would be a good fit for you to relocate, we do offer that. Medical tourism, if you're looking for any procedure, dental work, cosmetic, orthopedic, hysterectomies, hernia repair, cancer treatment, IVF, alternate birth plan, anything. We can assist you with that. And we are a certified medical tourism facilitator, and we only use JCI and international accredited hospitals and level 6 hospitals here in Kenya. So they're cleared in terms of your safety. And then if you're looking to invest, we also do offer business development. If you're looking to move your business here or open up a business, all of the things there, purchase land, build. We also do have a real estate company, Pineville Homes, where we do um, what is it, customized building. And so we'll be getting into that. It's a lot of stuff going on, guys. Just reach out to us at tverse.com, our website, or you can go to info@tverse.com. Email us, or you can even call us at our 1-800 number to speak to a live person, or join us for the JBE. You can get all of this information in one package for the JBE. And then lastly, Ryan, I want to have you on our podcast when you're back here for Conversations of Culture, so we can showcase what you're doing, the great work that you'll be doing here in Kenya, you're doing already, and share your experience on Conversations and Culture.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Well, that's Kea Wakesho. Wait, last thing. Where did the name Wakesho come from? That was given to you? Someone said it was a
Yeah,
coast name. What is
that
that?
was given to me by my family at the coast. His father is Taita, so it's a Taita name, and it means tomorrow or the future. And the mother is Lua, so my name is Wakesho Akini. And then when my family did our DNA in 2019, I actually came back 27.7% Kenyan and of the Lua tribe. So it was crazy. Then it explained. That's why I love the place. So yeah, Wakesho is a Taita name.
I thought it was. I'm good. I know my tribes a little bit. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate it. Till next time. See ya.